Welcome back into day 3 of the American Baseball Championships presented by the Air Force Reserve. Spectrum Field, Clearwater, Florida, coming to you live today on the American Digital Network. The boys of summer having a little fun out here in Clearwater. We're glad you're with us. Let's take a look. Our first 7 games are in the books. Let's take a look back at day 1, and the Houston Cougars fall to UConn in walk-off fashion 4-3. Wichita State upsets league champion ECU by a score of 6-2. Cincinnati and Tulane also garner big wins on day 1. They will be our winners bracket matchup this evening. We also saw our first winners bracket moving on. The UConn Huskies moved past Wichita State 9-7. The Huskies are one of 6 teams in our first 7 matchups where the higher seed has gone on to win. We welcome you in, everybody. Alongside Jeff Brightwell, I'm Garrett Walbert. Haley Otten will join us in just a moment. Jeff, during the regular season, Tulane took 2 of 3 from Cincinnati, but the way you look at these games, Cincinnati was the number 2 overall seed. They finished a win higher than Tulane. This should be a competitive matchup. Mother Nature played a factor as it does every year. Tulane had a rain out that they weren't able to make up in Memphis. Had they been able to play that game and win it, they would have traded places, but they get their chance here in Clearwater. Let's take a look at the visiting team tonight. Tulane, they've scored more runs and more extra base hits than any other offense in the American. They'll be looking to drive it tonight. Well, the wind is blowing out. When Tulane came in the stadium earlier, they saw that. They want to swing for the fences and the extra bases, defend the field out there against their pitcher. Cincinnati showed how patient they can be at the plate. They've drawn 7 walks and scored 11 runs against Memphis. They've got a good shot tonight. They have to work the pitch count, have to find a way to get on base. Got their first win in 10 years in the conference tournament, their first win in American play. Play loose, try to keep going. The American Player of the Year in Cody Hosey did not disappoint in the win over UCF. He went 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored. Cody Hosey, as you mentioned, the Player of the Year, 23 home runs this year, had a pair of hits the other night. So he is going good so far. That he would like to get it over the fence as well and drive it in the alley. Again, nobody has hit more home runs in the American this year than the Player of the Year, Cody Hosey. A.J. Bumpus is a senior right fielder for Cincinnati. In 7 career games, he's hitting over 300 for the Bearcats in this tournament. He exploded on the scene in the Game 1 win over Memphis. A lot of experience, 12 doubles. That will lead Cincinnati as well as his 36 RBI. 4 for 4 night against the Memphis Tigers on the day 1 win. The UConn Huskies are already moving on to the semifinals. Which of these 2 teams will join them for semifinals Saturday? We'll find out with starting lineups when we return here on the American Digital Network.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve our time in your community. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same: the chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows. Every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
How do you drive impact for 200 years? By doing it boldly. By building a bridge, breaking a barrier, planting a flag, owning a stage. Because here, we learn by doing and believe the status quo was built to be broken. So be proud, be bold, be Cincinnati. We're 2 centuries in, and we're still creating what's next. We are boldly Bearcat.
Line up for the Green Wave here in today's winner bracket matchup. Jensen, Hosey, and Haskin will lead things off for you. See Haskin, the freshman, with a game-saving catch to get them the win in Game 1. Grant Matthews and Jonathan Artigues, both upperclassmen in the middle of the order. Bedgood, Neiman, Luke Glancy, the redshirt junior, batting 8th, and Sal Gazzo, the junior, had a home run in his last matchup. Take a look at the 6'4" senior pitcher from Dublin, Ohio. Cincinnati will try and get the win today with Clayton Colvin.
Colvin, the senior right-hander, 3-2, a 5.36 ERA. 21 outings, 4 starts, so just his 5th start of the year. 43 2/3 of an inning, 43 hits, 31 runs, 26 earned, 21 walks against 46 strikeouts, a 2.62 average against 3 wild pitches, 7 hit batters on the year for Clayton Colvin.
The defense for the Bearcats from left to right in the outfield. Weimer, Johnson, and A.J. Bumpus on the inside of the infield. Santiago at third with Joey Bellini at shortstop. Jace Mercer, who's also a senior, at second. And Cole Murphy, another upperclassman, at first. Mitch Holding will be behind the plate. So Cincinnati, your home team, as we get ready to go here in beautiful Clearwater, Florida. Our third day of action. This will be the nightcap. We will have 2 more games tomorrow, and then we'll be ready for semifinal Saturday.
It's been a fun week. See who gets to Saturday here, gets another day off. You set yourself up very nicely. We'll see what Tulane does. Again, I said when they walked in the stadium during the prior game, they saw the flags going out. And it may benefit Travis Jewett and the Tulane Green Wave to be the visitor in this game. If you can put a big inning up first, you're going to force Cincinnati to try to keep up with you.
Trevor Jensen will lead things off. First pitch, a fastball swinging 92 miles an hour. Jensen, in 2 seasons playing in Clearwater, is 5 of 16. He has a home run, 3 RBIs, and 4 runs scored at this ballpark. Batting just under 300. Could argue that he loves playing here. Pitch by Colvin. Again, low 90s. That one 91 miles an hour. And that evens our count 1-1.
Second time Colvin has seen Tulane. He pitched in a 19-4 loss in relief. 2 2/3, 4 hits, 3 runs, all earned, no walks, 3 strikeouts. That was back in March 29th.
Another pitch misses the zone. Jensen on the season hitting .322 as a senior. He's played in every game but 1 for the Green Wave. Second on the team with 77 hits. This one's popped up. Think it'll find the chairbacks though. Giving chase is Murphy and the backstop Holding, but that one's out of play. And your count evens at 2-2.
Holding not going to take for granted that's going to get out of play, and Cincinnati can't do that. If you have a chance to make it out, you're going to have to go for it. So just waiting to see if that win may push it back over, but that was up 5 rows.
Cincinnati made a little history coming away and getting the win, moving them on. They beat Memphis 11-6 and won their first ever American tournament game. They had prior been 0-10, and I'm sure their fans are tired of us talking about it. But now, Jeff, you kind of got to say that they're playing with house money. They've got the win here. See how far we can go now. Play every game like it's a championship. Don't worry about who's going to start every game after this. Count has worked full against Jensen. This one's hit hard on the ground. It'll be past the diving glove of Bellini. A leadoff single for the Green Wave, and we're underway here in Clearwater.
Well, just drives it through the left side. Nice effort by Bellini, but a well-hit ball rolls it through, and that'll set the table. And I like the fact that Cody Hosey bats second. You have a chance for that big hit early on. As you see Bellini stretching out, but nothing going that time.
Up to the plate now, the player of the year in Cody Hosey, who after going 2 for 3 yesterday, Jeff, is flirting with a .400 batting average right now at .392.
Well, we've looked so much at his power numbers. 19 doubles, a triple, 23 home runs, but only 30 strikeouts on the year. That's allowed him to get and tickle the .400 mark at .392.
First pitch to him is elevated 90 miles an hour.
Talked about playing with house money. We saw Wichita State earlier today. They played loose and free. They'll be up an elimination game, and here she comes again. Saw her the other night having fun.
Tulane fans invading Spectrum Field here. Front row seats. Hosey with a man on, nobody out. First 2 that he hit, one hard to left, one hard to right the other night, but this is popped up on the infield. Back of the dish, and the catch is made by Holding. A dangerous bat retired there by Clayton Colvin, 1 out.
Well, that's a huge out. You didn't allow him to put it in play, at least between the white stripes here this evening. So an early out. Unfortunately, you don't get much of a reprieve if you retire Cody Hosey, because you have one of the best freshmen in the American in Hudson Haskin, who went yard on the first night.
Very talented player, ready to step into the box. Haskin on the year, .379 as a freshman.
Travis Jewett, the benefit with Hosey likely going in June. Just roll Hudson on into the role the next 2 years.
Great job recruiting him. A New York native. Haskin fouls this fastball back. Good size at 6'2", 195. New York, New York.
One-time honor roll on April 29th in the American Conference. Second on the team in batting average, doubles, triples, total bases, slugging percentage. And a good freshman like him, he really allowed Hosey probably to see a few more pitches this year. Teams weren't able to pitch around him as much as they would have liked to.
So Haskin comes set. He will not offer it that one. And that'll even up the count 1-1. Both these programs from two great river cities, New Orleans, of course, with the mighty Mississippi, and 800 miles to the north, Cincinnati, located on the Ohio River. See the runner, Jensen, coming off the bag. Not a bad little lead. Only has 2 steals on the year. He's also been caught twice. Again, 90 miles an hour from the senior Clayton Colvin. Count goes to 1-2.
Well, Tulane, as expected, not a big base stealing team. No reason to be, with 129 doubles, 89 home runs this season. They'll run the bases after they hit the ball. That's not need to run unless you put it in the alley.
Colvin will check the runner behind him. Now will come set on the bump. Here's the 1-2. Lifted into the air, right center field. Should be playable for Bumpus, though the sun is beating down on him. He'll make the catch. That'll send the runner back to first. Nice job by the senior Colvin to limit these big bats of Tulane early on.
Well, he's kept Hosey and Holding, their 2 most dangerous hitters, up in the air as Hosey went behind the plate. Now Haskin lifted it out to right field. Bumpus a nice job looking into the sun this time of day.
That'll bring Grant Matthews to the plate. Matthews, over the years, 4 of 15 in this tournament with a double and 3 RBIs. In his junior season, he's hitting .327. Infield will play him straight up, 2 outs, man on. Just misses with the 91-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, the radar was out early on Grant Matthews this year, hitting .327, named to the Bobby Bragan Collegiate Slugger Award watch list. 54 games he started in 2019, 41 of the outfield, 13 times as the designated hitter.
First 3 years of his career, Clayton Colvin was a reliever. Had only 3 starts coming into his senior campaign. This year he's become a very talented reliever with a couple more starts. He's got 4 this season. The other 17 appearances are all in relief. 3 wins, 2 losses. Working now against Grant Matthews, the left-hander. Jensen checking. Gets his lead off first. Now they'll work to Matthews. This one's lifted in the air. Weimer's got to make a long run towards the line. He's got a beat on it and won't run out of room. So Tulane with the leadoff single by Jensen. He remains stalled at first base. Long run there by Weimer. We'll bring the Bearcat offense to the plate in the bottom of the first when we return here on the American Digital Network.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve part-time in your community. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
Or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
Here's your starting 9 for Cincinnati, hitting .248 as an offense, but they do have 7 upperclassmen in the lineup tonight. Santiago, Bellini, and Stapp will lead things off. Joey Weimer hitting cleanup and playing in left field. Mitch Holding behind the plate at the 5. Jace Mercer, a 4-year starter, along with A.J. Bumpus batting in 7. He's a good boost at the bottom of the order, followed by Murphy and Jeremy Johnson. Keegan Gillies will be the starting pitcher tonight for Tulane. Just 2 wins and 4 losses, Jeff, but a quality pitcher, and they'll expect him to go deep into the game.
Well, the New Orleans native this year, 2-4, 14 outings, 13 starts, a 7.35 ERA. 60 innings, 80 hits, 52 runs, 49 earned, 27 walks against 59 strikeouts. Does give up a pretty high average against at 320, 6 wild pitches, and 3 hit batters on the season.
Tulane defense will be Matthews in left field, Hudson Haskin in center, and Luke Glancy in right. Across the infield from third to first, Cody Hosey, Sal Gazzo, J.R. Teagues, and Trevor Jensen. Behind the plate, Frankie Neiman. 2 games in a row with Neiman behind the plate, and Gillis on the hill at the 1. Great night for baseball here in Clearwater. We're ready to get the bottom of the first underway. Mentioned in the open, Cincinnati drew 7 walks at the plate against Memphis and scored 11 runs. At times they were patient and took their walks, and other times they were aggressive and found that hit they needed to drive in. We'll see how effective they'll be tonight against Tulane. Gillis gets us underway. 88 miles an hour called, strike 1.
Well, I would say Cincinnati is the modern sabermetrics type of ball club. Don't look so much at average home run power numbers. Can you look inside the numbers, find a way to get on base, how they piece things together to be 13-11? Because you look at their total stats, and we've done this as a team. Cincinnati only 248, just 26 home runs. They do have some team speed, but they found a way to get on and get the wins.
Santiago will offer at that one. First game for him in the tournament. Ended up being a good one. He went 1 for 4. Played in a handful of games last season as well for Cincinnati. Santiago also scored a run in the opener in 2019. Gillis's fastball finishes a little bit low. Listed at 6'8", 237 pounds. Went to Brother Martin High School. Part of that famed Catholic League in the Crescent City. 91 miles an hour, and there's a leadoff strikeout to get things going for Gillis and Tulane.
Gillis through the slider that time, went out on him, so quickly one away, and that's something he wants. Just needs to hold Cincinnati down. You know he's going to get some run support behind him. Ran in. Got him off the handle.
Junior shortstop Joey Bellini hitting .298 stands in. First pitch swinging. A little late on it. This one's popped up right side of the infield. Teagues will make the catch. And there are 2 away.
Well, pretty quick first inning thus far for Gillis. Now working to Wyatt Stapp. Just had 1 hit the other night.
Stapp, a sophomore, hitting 1 point shy of .280 in his second year. Left-handed bat, though. A couple of left-handed bats at the bottom of the order in Bumpus and Murphy. With the wind blowing in, the left-hander looks at ball 1 at 91 miles an hour.
Wyatt Stapp played in 30 games and 27 starts at his last school. Went to Tennessee, Knoxville, 296, 11 RBI, and 9 runs scored that year. Was on the academic honor roll in the SEC before he transferred to the Bearcats.
Swings at this one. He's late again. Stapp a pair of RBIs in the opening win against the Tigers of Memphis.
Stapp, originally out of Keller, Texas, was an outstanding player at South Lake Carroll. Took him to the state semifinals back in 2017.
Dallas Metroplex area. You know you're going to see a lot of good baseball in that hotbed. Ball and a strike to Stapp. Just late again. Gillis hasn't even thrown 10 pitches. He's 1 away from getting out of this inning. Working just on the left side of the rubber. We've seen him go as high as 91 miles an hour. Will he rail it back here? Breaking ball. Popped up. This could find no man's land. Gazzo will make the play, though, in shallow center field. 1, 2, 3 with a strikeout for Gillis. We're one complete. Top of the second when we return here at the American Baseball Championships presented by the Air Force Reserve.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to 35 miles of white sand bliss. But it's more than emerald surf and Gulf breezes. The beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of life, nature, art, music, or whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast in St. Pete Clearwater. Love the beach.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power Six conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Sun finding its home over the Gulf of Mexico here in Clearwater. Beautiful week for baseball. We hope you'll join us if you have a chance. Your team advancing. You'd like to come spend your Memorial Day weekend with us at Spectrum Field. Please do. Cincinnati back out on the field for their second inning on defense. Tulane will come to the plate. They kind of quietly went down after a leadoff single.
Well, when Jensen singled left field, you almost had the feeling, look out. Tulane's going to get out quickly, but Colvin did a really nice job. Got the player of the year to pop it up behind the plate. Haskin, an innocent fly ball to right field, and Matthews, a fly ball to left. That's great. Got him to pop it up, but however, you're going to kind of live on the edge a little bit, especially to the right-handers with that wind howling out.
That'll bring up Jonathan Artigues, the junior second baseman, will get his first at-bat today. 6 foot, 185 pounds, out of Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. And that's a nice little area. I don't know if you've ever been to southern Mississippi and enjoyed time down there on the coast, but they've branded that area. I don't know if it's the secret coast or the hidden coast. It's kind of like their little secret, how nice everything and how affordable everything is over there. Artigues up to the plate, hitting .320 in his redshirt junior year. He's had pretty good success here in Clearwater over the years. 7 of 17 in his career. Big tourney last year, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored. Colvin comes set, ahead in the count 0-2. That one finishes high at 88 miles an hour.
Well, that was up and in. I know he wanted the strike, but that was well up and in. Artigues at the plate, started every game at second base. 20 multi-hit games, 6 multi-RBI games this year. This is the guy that you got to watch if he gets on first. Again, Tulane doesn't run a lot, but he did lead the team in steals.
Colvin looking over the top of his glove at holding. Breaks off that pitch and it finishes outside. That'll give Artigues a better count at 2-2. 3 members from Tulane made the all-conference teams. Of course, the player of the year in Cody Hosey. And then on the second team, you saw the pitcher make it first team. The first team pitcher Roper and also Hudson Haskin as a freshman in the outfield made the all-conference team. Pretty impressive. This one's fouled back. Ends up being a souvenir for some Tulane fans on the first base side.
Well, I don't know how it's going to play out this week for all these teams in the outstanding pitching performances, but it's going to be, to me, hard to beat a 136 pitch complete game on opening night for Roper.
Did an incredible job. Came away with 9 strikeouts in 9 innings pitched. Artigues battling up there at the plate. That one at 91 miles an hour. Now over 20 pitches is Colvin. I had to look it up, but I remembered last year Roper gave an incredible effort. That one came against ECU. 7 2/3, only gave up 5 hits, had 11 strikeouts, had to take the loss. But in 2 years, he's got 20 strikeouts piled up. Pretty good. Did Artigues offer on the 2-2? No, he didn't, and the count runs full.
Matt McKendry had a nice view down at first base. The bat did not cross the plane, wrist did not break. There it is. Nice job holding back, just held back.
Matt Nader, our home plate umpire. He's assisted at first base by McKendry, Scott Wilkerson at second, and Grady Smith at third base. Artigues with the full count. Will offer at it again. He's been late fouling these back, but they haven't been to the point where they've gotten past his bat yet. Working on the timing here in the first of Clayton Colvin, and of course giving the rest of his offense, that vaunted Tulane offense, a couple of extra looks at what's in the arsenal for Colvin.
Well, that's the best point there, Garrett. You don't have to get on right now. You don't need the big hit. You just want everybody to see what he's got. He's doing a good job, though, of mixing the pitches up early in the ball game.
Breaking ball is inside past his shoulder, and he walks him. So a leadoff walk, and that'll bring up Bedgood.
Nice leadoff walk for Artigues. Didn't get a hit the other night in the opener, but finds a way to get on here and set the table.
David Bedgood in his sophomore year hitting .287. For Clayton Colvin, that's now his 22nd walk in 44 innings pitched. So on average, about one walk every 2 innings. Artigues off first. The first pitch to Bedgood is high for ball 1.
Well, we mentioned that Artigues leads the team in steals, but they're not a big base stealing team. Only 7 leads Tulane. He's only been caught once. They're going to sit back, try to drive balls in the gaps here.
Bedgood, just under 6 feet tall, 183 pounds, out of Sherman, Texas. The left-hander has a big hole open on the right side of the infield if he can pull one through. Holding, the catcher sets up inside. That one looked to be a little far inside, but the strike is called and the count evens at 1.
Yanked the string at 76 miles an hour, so we've seen him from the low 70s up into the low 90s already in the ball game.
Clayton Colvin comes set, primarily a reliever in his career for the Bearcats. Diving back in is Artigues. You take a look at his body of work in 2019, the longest outing he had by far was 6 innings pitched against Memphis, 4 2/3 against ECU, and the remainder of them are anywhere from 2 to 3 innings pitched. One to Bedgood, lifted into the air. Johnson comes in and makes the catch in center. Former Auburn player.
It's been the MO so far for Colvin. All 4 outs he's recorded so far against Tulane. He's had them in the air, once behind the plate. Now they've sprayed it to each outfielder. A little bit shallow there, a nice jump on it with the wind blowing in. Johnson had to make sure that thing didn't shallow out on him.
So Coleman will now face Frankie Neiman. Neiman, the 7-hole hitter and the catcher, hitting .326. First pitch to him misses the zone. In tonight's lineup, he is one of 6 players for Tulane batting well over .300.
Well, there's no holes in Tulane's lineup. Usually you can count on somebody, a sub-200 hitter, maybe a high strikeout number, Neiman at .326. You do have a .206 hitter in Salgazzo, but he's got 6 home runs on the year.
This is a good drive to center field. Johnson's got to get a track on it, and does. That one took off from the bat, but the second out of the inning, and Neiman's retired.
Well, it took off to right center field, but once it got high enough, it hit that wind blowing and gusting in from right field. That wind up to last night's speed at 14 miles an hour. You see Johnson get up under it.
That'll bring Luke Glancy to the plate as the flags blow in towards us through right center field. Glancy in his career here in Clearwater, 4 for 12, 2 runs driven in and a run scored. Glancy in his junior season hitting just under .260. Runner takes off. Here's the throw down by Holding, and it's a little bit slow to try and catch the runner Artigues, our first stolen base of the day.
That'll be the 8th of the year for Artigues, and really that was stolen more on Colvin than it was on Holding. He got a huge secondary lead and got a gigantic jump on him. Really, Holding had no chance.
So Coach Jewett's team puts their runner in scoring position. But with 2 outs, can Glancy come through here? He's ahead in the count 1-0. Glancy with 8 home runs, 29 runs driven in on the year. There's a powerful cut, 90 miles an hour, and the count evens.
Comes up and in on the left-hander. Glancy can't hold off. He's still looking for his first hit after just an over-2 performance in day 1.
Tulane really flexed some muscle earlier in the year in the regular season series. They won the first game 19-4. The second game 8-1. Outscored them 27-5. But like you said, Cincinnati finds a way. They won the last game 7-6.
Well, I remember the night they had the 19-4 win. That's the first time you're kind of looking at scores that was early in conference season. You peek over and see, okay, so we got a 15-run game tonight, and it's early in the conference season.
Glancy ahead in the count now, 2-1. Colvin's breaking ball is sharp. That'll even the count 2-2.
Just like the way he's commanding the strike zone, not having to be overpowering, runs it in around 90 when he has to, going in and out with that off-speed pitch.
Little shot into the outfield could score Artigues from second. Tulane looking for their second hit of the game. Won't offer it that. 92 miles an hour and out of the zone.
Rear back and almost hit that one to the backstop. Nice job by holding to hop up and get it. Just trying to be a little overpowering that time. You don't have to do anything special out of your realm tonight. Colvin just has to be himself. He's on point so far in the second inning.
Colvin tied for second on the team with 3 victories. Only David Orndorff has more with 5. Payoff pitch, pulled through the side into right. They're going to go ahead and send Artigues around. Here comes the throw. It won't be in time. Tulane draws first blood. They've got an RBI single here in the second from Luke Glancy.
Nice job by Glancy trying to hang it in there. He turned on it to right field. And that's the first line drive we've seen from Tulane. That's the first ball hit on the ground. They've been in the air so far today, but able to get a good barrel on the ball and just drive it through the right side.
Bumpus's throw came in a little bit low, but it had a lot of zip on it. Cutoff man decided to let it go to the plate, just not quite in time. Now Sal Gazzo will come to the plate. Gazzo ripped a home run in his first game here in Clearwater. Takes a look at strike one. For Gazzo's career, 4 of 18 playing in the conference tournament. 2 years ago, he was in the 2017 tourney. Over that time, he scored 5 runs, driven in a pair, and had that home run 2 days ago.
Well, his brother has already made his way to Saturday. After UConn survived today, he'd love to join him in the semifinals.
Pops this one up on the infield. Should be playable for Mercer. And he'll take it at second base. But 1 run will score on 1 hit. 1 left on, no errors. It's 1-0 Tulane. Bottom of the second when we return. Glancy comes through and yanks one into right. Artigues will come around and score from second.
We all dream about our next vacation. But some of us turn those dreams into action. The bookers, the doers, they hit that confirmation button and let's goers. Because bookers know that the perfect place to stay is right there for the booking. Be a booker at Booking.com, the world's #1 choice for booking accommodations.
Scores! 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Hueso from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Heart of the order coming up for the Cincinnati Bearcats. 4, 5, 6, Weimer, Holding, and Mercer. They now trail Tulane 1-0 after an RBI single by the Green Wave in the top of the frame.
11 home runs in that trio here. We'll see if Weimer can get it started. 0 for 3 on opening night. 255. He's got the high strikeout numbers. He just wants to put this ball in play. They got to pressure that Tulane defense.
Weimer with that great size. 6'5", about 215, standing tall in the right-handed batter's box. Already made a nice play out in the left field corner tonight. Gillis's first offering is called a strike, so a 6'8" pitcher versus a 6'5" power hitter. Nice way to start off the bottom of the second here in Clearwater. Hammers one into left field. Matthews going back, and it stays in the ballpark. Bad beat on it, and Weimer has a stand-up double to get things going in the bottom of the second. I think the wind played havoc with that one, Jeff.
I thought that was at Frenchie's for sure when it took off the bat. Held up. The wind is pushing in from right field at about 14 miles an hour. But it pushes it just to the left. But off the bat, that thing really, really jumped.
First hit of the ball game for Cincinnati is an extra base one. Weimer now standing on second with Holding coming to the plate. Those flags coming in towards us from left center field, as you can see. Holding stands in his junior season. Facing Gillis for the first time today. Won't offer at the breaking ball, goes ahead in the count.
It would be really big here if Holding or Mercer or Bumpus comes through to get the lead or tie this ball game up, maybe take the lead early in the contest. You don't want to have to go into the middle innings and then late trying to catch up with Tulane's offense if they start cranking.
Holding standing in the back of the box. Right on the outside corner. 88 miles an hour from Gillis. Strike one. Holding hitting 194 on the year. 3 doubles, 3 home runs, 14 driven in. Joey Weimer standing on second base after that leadoff double. Here's a 1-1 to Holding. Good zip on that one, 90 miles an hour, but out of the zone. You look up and down the first team, second team for the American All-Conference selections. Cincinnati does not have a representative. It's just an opportunity with so many great players throughout this league, but it's odd to see the runner-up in the conference, who is under 500 with their overall record, not have a single representative. Gillis walks him back, won't throw.
Well, you look at the record, could be slightly deceiving, 27 and 29. They got out to a 1-9 start this year. Since then, they've gone 26 and 20. So you take away that first couple of weeks of the season, they've played solid baseball this year. But as you mentioned, you look at the stat sheet, take away the overall record, the stats don't indicate this is a second-place team.
I think he swung for that one and it hit his hand.
I believe that's exactly what happened. And then maybe they say no swing. No.
Didn't go through with the swing. And immediately the protest from Tulane's first base dugout. Gillis looks like he doesn't believe it either. I'm going to say that one came in and hit him on the hand, the left hand. And we might have our first replay opportunity, review opportunity of the game. See Coach Jewett might ask for an explanation up close and personal.
You know, that prior statement I made, I don't want the Cincinnati fans to take offense to that if you look at the numbers, it might not jump out as a second-place team this year. I think that's got to be a lot of credit to this Bearcat ball club. You don't have your big, 350, 400 hitter. You don't have a 23 home run guy out there. You don't have a 100 strikeout guy on the mound this year. We talked in the prior game. If it wasn't for a 40-plus win game, 40-plus win season by Cliff Godwin and ECU, Coach Googans may be your coach of the year in the American Conference for what Cincinnati did in league play. It looks like they are going to head over to the third base dugout and review this.
Our first one of the game. A guy that has American All-Conference talent, A.J. Bumpus, a senior. The batting average is .270, but that's a guy who's piled up a lot of hits and starts, makes a lot of plays in the outfield for them, and the conference's all-time leader in triples. We saw him hit one in the first game 2 days ago. Well, when you can only have 3 outfielders on the first team, there are a bunch of guys in this league hitting .315 or better. Here's a replay of what they're looking at, Jeff. Holding. Now, you can argue that it came off of his hand and that he held his swing up. If he swings through it and gets hit, it's a strike.
Right. I don't think he committed and had a full swing. He may have wanted to until he got hit, but I don't think the bat ever crossed at the point of contact.
I just think it's going to be tough to overturn that one.
And again, much like a replay in any other sport, it's got to be, you know, beyond a reasonable doubt that the call was wrong. And it actually looked like it got him not on the lower hand, but the upper hand, his right hand on the bat. Man, it got him on the knuckles.
We, of course, have monitors up in the booth. We can see what they're showing the umpires right now. And from a different angle, looks like, again, pulls his hands in towards his body, doesn't commit the swing.
We'll say this on this camera angle we're looking at now. I do like the Cincinnati old school V-neck jerseys.
Absolutely. So many teams nowadays going with the tops that don't have any buttons, not like a regular jersey. See, the ball makes contact there.
That's a really good angle there.
Definitely not off the barrel of the bat. Gillis went 1-2-3 as the starter for Tulane in the first. He's allowed a double to Weimer. And it looks like he might end up giving the hit by pitch up to Holding. That would be 2 on. Here's a closer look. If you look closely, I think it gets by the left hand but gets the right knuckle or a right finger.
There's no doubt it hit something because the angle of the ball changed. There was a deflection.
But I just don't think you can argue that the barrel of the bat came around and there was a swing. Yeah, the ball literally stops on a dime and then plummets into the dirt.
And now just waiting for confirmation.
Excited about this new part of the American Baseball Championships, though. The first year that we've had video replay, and we thank the American Digital Network and all of their hard workers for providing it for us, for the student athletes. The ability to get things right in a tournament that means so much with NCAA regional bids on the line.
Well,
it's the way college baseball is going.
2.5 days of conference tournament baseball. What is this, game 8 that we've called now? We've had, what, 4 or 5 reviews. We've yet to have one overturned. Everything's been confirmed, which to me tells you we do have a pretty good umpiring crew out there so far through the tournament. They've made the right calls. They've gone to try to see if they need to be overturned. Everything has been confirmed so far through 2.5 days.
Tulane leading it after scoring a run in the top of the second. Here's a closer look, Jeff. Zoomed in here. I mean, the ball's moving at 88, 89 miles an hour. It's only in your screen for a millisecond. It's literally right there underneath the barrel, coming off the hand.
Here they come.
Will they leave the go-ahead run on base?
No. It's going to be our first overturn review of the tournament.
So Holding will go back to the plate with a 2-2 count. Scott Guggen's got the third base umpire to give him a clarification, and now the home plate. Matt Nader will talk with Coach Jewett.
We got to remember the fingers, the hands are part of the bat, whether you swing sometime or not. They're going to just foul ball. Is probably what they went back and said. Look, that's wrapped around the barrel. It didn't hit inside the.
Well, again, we think the right call made. Holding will end up popping out. We appreciate L2 Productions for everything they've done this week, giving the umpires that close look as that ball came in from Gillis.
And again, I could be correct, I could be wrong, but I think that's what the thinking was once they reviewed it. They wanted to see where exactly the contact was made, Did it get up on the wrist, inside the wrist, or was it around the barrel of the bat?
So a pop foul, and that'll break up Mercer to the plate. Jace Mercer in his junior season with a runner in scoring position.
Well, how about this family history for Jace Mercer? You talk about an athletic family. His father, Jay, played football and baseball at Morehouse. His cousin, Irvin, played for the Milwaukee Brewers. So some pro baseball, some major league history in the family for Jace Mercer.
Mercer at 5'10", 185, a Georgia native. Looks at called strike one.
Quietly had a solid game the other day. 3 for 4 in the conference championship opener for Cincinnati.
Mercer, as a freshman, had some nice numbers in the 2017 tournament. Didn't play a game last year here in Clearwater. Mercer behind 0-1. Won't offer there. The count evens up. 2017 in a pair of games, he went 2 for 3 with an RBI. And then, Jeff, you might remember 2 years ago, the Memphis game, 3 for 5, tournament record, 6 runs driven in, and an extra base hit.
That 15-14 game?
That's the one. Everybody filled up the stat sheet in that game.
Will we go 10 innings in that game between the Bearcats and the Tigers?
Was that 11? 10, 11 innings? Yeah. 14-15. Mercer looking at the 1-1. Offers at that one, and he's late. 89 miles an hour.
Odd thing about that game, that's one of the few games I've ever called where both teams at one point I thought would get run ruled. Memphis jumped out to a pretty substantial lead. Cincinnati came roaring back, I believe, in the 6th or the 7th, and looked like they had complete control of the game, only to let the Tigers tie it up and win it in extras. They got their revenge this year on opening day.
Mercer, a vital part of the lineup here in 2019. Sends this one into the air, and going back is Haskin. Carrying a little bit with the wind, but Haskin will make the catch. Now the Jets by Weimer, and he'll slide in head first, tagging to third. I don't think Posey didn't throw the ball away. And Scott Guggens, the head coach working over on the third base side, made sure that Weimer knew it. If we can hang a little bit, once they throw the ball in, stay with this replay. Posey acts like he's going to throw the ball away and keeps it in his mitt. Guggens made sure to tell him, stay on the back.
Well, I wasn't going to mention that play to Gene Stevenson earlier today against Miami. College World Series when their first baseman hit it under his armpit.
That'll bring up A.J. Bumpus to the plate. The man on third. 2 outs in front of him.
You know, that was a pretty nice play by Haskell. They played Mercer way in. He had to take off immediately back into his right.
A.J. 4 for 4 in game 1 with a triple and 2 runs driven in. Count evens on him, 1-1. Bumpus hitting .269 in his senior season. Left-handed bat stands in. 6'3", 195 pounds. Inside out swing, and this one's going to drop. It's fair. We've got a tie ball game. The senior A.J. Bumpus comes through and knocks it up at 1 here in the bottom of the 2nd.
How about A.J. Bumpus this week so far? 5 for his first 5, driving in the run, dumps it into the left field corner, his 37th RBI of the year. And that one nearly kicked away from Matthews in left. If that kicks away from him in the corner, Bumpus standing on second, a chance to give the Bearcats a lead.
Tulane with 1 in the top of the frame, and now Cincinnati answers. Cole Murphy will come to the plate. Murphy, also a senior, hitting .224. He's appeared in 42 games this season.
It's Bearcat Ball Club trying to get momentum to finish out the year. They're going to have 5 seniors in the order next season.
This one's hit up the middle. Shading over is Gazzo to first. And hold on, the officials have made a call. I don't know if there was catcher's interference when he swung through, and that would award a base. I don't see any other reason that he'd be standing on first.
Well, we'll see if we can get a look at this.
The inning continues with Jeremy Johnson coming to the plate.
Definitely didn't hear a double tap on that one, at least in our effects mic, but it is going to be catcher's interference, the ruling.
So now Bumpus with great speed, standing off second. You've got Johnson at the plate.
Catcher's interference also ruled an error, so one error on the Green Wave, who have been outstanding defensively this year with just 46 errors on the year.
Murphy on first. And now Johnson, who made a nice catch out in center field, comes to the plate, the 8-hole hitter. Johnson quickly behind in the count, 0-2. Gillis taking a couple of deep breaths. Now the junior's ready to work. Johnson won't offer at that one. 88 miles an hour.
Johnson, a transfer from Auburn, 237 in 2 seasons with the Tigers, 4 doubles, graduated in 2018, originally out of Lambert High School. Made his way to Cincinnati, Ohio.
The 5'10 junior looks on, puts this one into the air. Haskin has a beat on it. And that will strand 2 on the bases, but not before Cincinnati evens it up. A.J. Bumpus now 5 for 5 after this inside-out swing, drives in a run. We're tied up at 1. We'll be back for the 3rd inning when we return here on the American Digital Network.
On your mark, get set, let's go. It goes.
Tired, huh?
NBA superstar.
Gatorade Zero. All the electrolytes, zero sugar. Get more out of zero.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together. So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
1 run on 2 hits for both teams as we start the top of the 3rd. Night slowly falling here in the St. Pete, Clearwater, Tampa Bay area. You see the flags still blowing in towards us in the press box. And all of those beautiful, tall, skinny palms blowing along the walkway out here at Spectrum Field.
Evening breeze headed out toward the Gulf. A brisk one last night. We've got a pretty gusty wind here this evening for the 2nd night in a row.
Top of the order for the top of the lineup. We'll get things going here with Trevor Jensen back up for the 2nd time tonight. He singled into left field, was stranded on first base in the 1st.
Mainstay at first base this year, started 54, 55 games over at first.
He'll offer at that one and foul it away.
First person at Tulane with 6 RBI in a game since 2008. Finished a triple short of the cycle in that win over South Florida earlier in the season. Clayton
Colvin's offering 91 miles an hour. That's where we have seen him kind of top out with the fastball so far. You know, you get a couple more innings into the ball game, you can really loosen up. Might be able to pump it up a mile or two. Jensen's focused and ready to work. 1-2, couple of hops, and Bellini can't knock it down. A leadoff single for Tulane, second of the ball game for Jensen.
Well impressed Bellini was able to get to it at all. He rolled that pretty stiffly through the middle of the infield. Got a glove on it, but a little too hard as it skips just off the webbing into center field. So he's able to set the table here in the third inning. Just waiting to see if Tulane is able to bust one out of here. Long way to go for Bellini. Now, one thing we're going to have to remember, we've not talked about this yet, Tulane and Cincinnati, the two teams that play on a pure field surface artificial turf field in the American Conference. So both teams out here on the natural grass.
And a beautiful field it is. Painstakingly manicured by the field crew here for the Phillies. Colvin misses there. Player of the year in the conference, second in the country with 23 home runs on the season after hitting 5 a year ago. Hosey, the definition of an American first-teamer, stands in. 0 for 1 today. Hosey yesterday, to get the game going, smashed one to left, then smashed another to right, went 2 for 3 with a pair of runs scored. Make that in their opening game 2 days ago. Jensen standing off first. Now he'll dive back in. Always nice to have a big, tall first baseman in Murphy. Colvin staring into holding the catcher. Hosey won't offer at that one. He's quickly ahead in the count.
Almost has the body type. We talked about this guy the other night, Garrett. Kind of a right-handed John Olerud. Tall, long, very strong, not bulky. Has a lot of bat speed, long arms to get that bat head through the zone. That's produced the 23 home runs this year.
Colvin will deal. Hosey's quickly ahead 3-0. If you're Colvin, probably have to throw a strike here when you have a 379 hitter like Haskin on deck. Already one man aboard. This will be the 45th pitch of the ball game. That one comes across at 88 for strike one.
Well, that was a good strike to throw down and away out of the zone. If he's able to get a barrel on it, probably likely pushes it maybe out to right field. Could still get a hit out of it, but it keeps him from pulling the ball. And you mentioned Hudson. That's a big reason. Likely that he's been able to get a little bit more production, and actually a lot more production as far as the power numbers. Have someone behind you to protect you.
Hosey flares at that one. Count now goes full. Green Wave have won 3 of their last 5 games since they've entered postseason play. Were not able to finish off the Yukon Huskies in New Orleans during their senior weekend at Turchin Stadium. Did have a nice series win and a sweep against USF in Tampa. I guess playing in Tampa Bay is good for the boys from New Orleans. Throw over by Colvin, not in time. Jensen dives back in. Hosey, the player of the year, also a semifinalist for the Golden Spikes Award and the Dick Hauser Trophy. Payoff pitch, runner takes off. Here's the throw down. Tag's not in. No, he tiptoed into the bag. He didn't slide in correctly.
He was in between whether he wanted to come up standing up or slide, or he mistimed it somehow, but he got the spike caught, came up a little bit early.
Strike him out, throw him out. Jace Mercer applied the tag in time.
If you remember an inning ago, as Ortiz got the gigantic jump on Colvin, didn't give Holden a chance. We'll take another look at it. Solid throw, and I think he got a spike caught. I don't know if he was trying to short slide and a hop over. I think maybe the spike caught out there in the clay coming up.
Tough break for the Green Wave. Here's Haskin, and he fouls it off himself. No, they're going to say that one was off the plate, and that'll keep the inning alive. Haskin up, 2 outs, nobody on. So nice hustle play there by Cincinnati. They strike out the player of the year in Hosey and gun down Jensen at second.
Throw made even better because Holding had to throw with the head of Hosey to get it down there.
Big cut by Haskin, who flew out to right field in his first at bat. He's quickly behind in the count 0-2. Colvin trying to get out of the inning. Really put some zip behind that one, but it's high and outside for ball one. He's over 50 pitches now in the game. If he can get Haskin, he'll be at a pretty good point, ready to come back out in the fourth. .91 miles an hour, fouled back into the screen. Colvin is 6'4", 205 pounds, standing out there on the hill out of Dublin, Ohio. Haskin can't catch up with that one. Sends it into the suites up here on the press deck. Both these teams trying to move into the semifinals on Saturday, stay in the winner's bracket, and not exhaust their pitching before they try and win a championship. Haskin calls for time and gets it. What a solid freshman season for Haskin to build on. 10 home runs, 51 runs driven in. He is battling up there at the plate like a veteran.
Well, the potential, too, if you win this game and you play Saturday, you get a team coming through the loser's bracket, or a team playing tonight that loses plays tomorrow. It would be their third straight day of playing baseball. Now, obviously, if the team that was an elimination game last night wins, it'll just be back-to-back games. Still like the format this year. So many benefits, especially to the winners. In the years past, when we played 3 games, only one of the top 2 seeds would get that extra day off, a chance to rest. The 2 seed usually had to play back-to-back days if they won. This just keeps everyone even. I know it's a long day on Tuesday for everyone, staff, stadium staff as well, American Conference officials, for us as well. But after that, get to sleep a little late, and the teams like not having to play another early game to the semifinals.
Haskin just gets a piece of that. Well, you had an up-close and personal look as the Memphis broadcaster of Hunter Goodman, who led the conference in RBIs, 13 home runs. I think freshman of the year was really between him and this man, Hudson Haskin.
And they were really close in that RBI category. Midway to the latter third of the season, Hunter Goodman kind of took off. Obviously, Hudson a lot better average, or a little bit better average than Hunter Goodman this season.
Fists this one to the left side of the infield. Should be playable for Bellini, and they get him by half a step. Clayton Colvin goes 1-2-3 in the third. He's faced just 2 over the minimum against Tulane's powerful offense. We'll come back with Cincinnati batting in the bottom of the third. Strike him out, throw him out here in Clearwater.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to Clearwater Beach, the #1 beach in the U.S. as chosen by travelers on TripAdvisor. It's not just white sand and Gulf breezes. Beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast. Visit stpclearwater.com. Love the beach.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Tie ball game, 1-1 between Tulane and Cincinnati. The Bearcats head coach Scott Guggen's now in his second year. Just 4 wins shy of 400 for his career. You see he's the all-time winningest coach in Xavier history up in Ohio.
Well, came over, as you mentioned, a couple of years ago after Ty Neal left that position and did a nice job a season ago. Second place this year. 12 seasons over across town at Xavier with 341 wins. Had a team that won 34 games in 2017. They were the Big East Coaching Staff of the Year. Brings his talents over to Cincinnati. Marchant Stadium. He's got the facilities. He has what he needs in place to be successful, not only in the American, but can he elevate that Cincinnati program to be an NCAA regional caliber team?
Had regional teams at Xavier. I think he'll do the same for the Bearcats.
You know, they've got everything in place, I think, in Cincinnati. I've always felt that they had the right coach, could coach maybe the lower Midwest, the upper Southeast. He's in there between SEC, Big Ten country, can go out and find the right talent, get them into that ballpark. They could really do something special at Cincinnati.
Gillis back out. He's limited Cincinnati to 1 run on 2 hits, 1 strikeout. Fastball across the plate, 89 miles an hour. Tulane's defense playing Eric Santiago straight up. Fastball buzzes the tower and pushes him back at 88 miles an hour. Santiago staring it up in the count. That one at the knees. It'll be a 5-pitch walk to start the inning.
Leadoff man reached an inning ago, and Weimer with a double. He would later come around to score, but he gets the free base here with Bellini coming up.
Now 28 walks in 62 innings pitched on the year.
That's the first free base given up so far by Gillis, his first walk of the ball game to go along with 1 strikeout.
Now Joey Bellini will come to the plate in his junior season. This one gets away from Neiman. That'll put a runner in scoring position as Santiago motors into second.
He's really going to have to bear down now. 2 freebies, a walk and a wild pitch. All of a sudden you start the inning off similar to an inning ago, a runner in scoring position with nobody out. How is Cincinnati going to play this, trying to pull up the upset? That one just got down low, really gave his catcher no opportunity of that. Do you bunt him over to the third? Do you try to drive him in, get the lead, get the momentum into this ball game? Again, you got down 1-0 to the best offense in the league. You got a chance to take an early lead in this ball game in the third.
Got to capitalize. Gillis comes set, and he'll hold. Keegan started 14 games last year as a sophomore. Went 6-6. This year, 13 more starts. This one's lifted into the air. Glancy going back. He'll make the catch, and the runner will tag from second to third. And he beats the throw by a few steps.
I'll say this, Garrett. Glancy had to mess with the wind a little bit. But that wind didn't bother that arm whatsoever. That was a solid throw to third. If we're looking at Dave Parker out there or not. Wow.
So now a runner on third with only 1 out. Wyatt Stapp will come to the plate, the 3-hole hitter. Stapp on the season with 28 runs driven in, 6 doubles, 2 home runs for Gillis. Really got to bear down now. Do not want to give up the go-ahead run. Who's standing on third?
Stapp just 1 for 6 in the tournament after popping up the short in the first inning. Doesn't need it hit here. Needs to get it to second or short. He's going to drive that run in, and the Bearcats are going to lead.
87 miles an hour. We've seen Gillis up 89, 90. There's Stapp, who had 2 runs driven in the win against Memphis. In our first 7 games, the higher seeded team won 6 times. Now you have a couple of top 3 seeds battling in Tulane and Cincinnati. And it's about as close as we expected it to be. Stapp, though, is going to try and break things open here in the third. DH won't offer it that one. Stapp 6'1", 205 out of the Dallas area. Keller, Texas. Jeff told you earlier that he was once a Tennessee Vol. Left-hander takes a deep breath, and he will step back into the box. Hammers this one down the line into right field. It'll score the run coming in from third. A go-ahead RBI single by Wyatt Stapp, and Cincinnati takes their first lead of the ball game.
Second hit of the week for Wyatt Stapp. Drives in the run. Santiago from third. Stapp now 29 RBIs on the year. Just went out with it, hung it out over the plate. Able to pull that one.
Got the big part of the barrel on it. Drives his teammate in from third. Now 2 runs on just 3 hits for Cincinnati, and Joey Weimer comes to the plate. Can't make a mistake to the big man. At 6'5", 215, facing Gillis.
Santiago waited a long time over at third on that live drive to see if it might hang up. Waited till it nearly got to the right fielder before he took off to the plate.
Weimer takes a look at called strike one. That pass ball allowing the runner into scoring position, really making Tulane pay right now.
Well, a walk and a pass ball, 2 free bases. It's hard to get around that to start an inning off. Now you got to do a little damage control that runner at first and 1 out.
This one's pulled to the left side. They'll throw to second base and cut down the lead runner for the second out, but Weimer, too speedy. The outfielder is safe at first on the fielder's choice.
Second time he's been on today. Nice turn over there for the force out by Gazzo. Had to go deep in the hole to grab that one. Nice job throwing across the body right on target.
That'll bring up the catcher, Mitch Holding, who discards his shin guards and comes up to the plate with 2 outs, just like we used to do it in Little League.
You got to look cool like the big leaguers do. I didn't take mine off, until you got to look sharp. Holding had a nice throw again. He knocked out Trevor Jennings an inning ago, and did it having a throw over the head of the very tall Cody Hosey.
Time called at the plate by Holding. Put one in the air in his last at bat, but it was foul on the first base side. He's 0 for 1 today.
That was after we had to review the play. We had about a 5-minute delay in the game while we reviewed. Got hit on the hand. They went back to review and see if he got him on the wrist or the hand. They called him back to home plate before he popped up.
Holding solidly built at 6 foot 230. The junior from Melbourne, Australia. First showcased his wares at Odessa Community College. Has since come to Cincinnati and nailed down the starting catcher gig. Behind in the count, 0-1. Gillis can't get that one to catch, and the count evens at 1. Well, you mentioned that the power numbers, not necessarily there for Cincinnati, but boy, they got some base stealing numbers, don't they?
Yeah.
A lot of speed on this team.
They take advantage of the surroundings at Marchand Stadium. Very slick fielding team. They use the field turf very well on the infield. Allows them to play a little bit deeper because that ball gets to you a little bit quicker. I've probably seen close to 20 games at Marchand Stadium on that field turf. They play it well.
Got 3 guys all around 20 stolen bases, with Weimer leading the team with 21, Jeremy Johnson, the center fielder, with 19, and Jace Mercer, the second baseman, with 20. And these guys don't get caught very often either. Holding taking his time at the plate. Now he'll step back in. Ahead in the count, 2-1. Holding hits one high to left field. Going back is Matthews. It's gone all the way to Frenchies. A 2-run bomb for Cincinnati's Mitch Holding, his first home run of the tournament, and the Bearcats lead it 4-1.
The big guy got that body turned, got the arms out, crushes the left field. We saw a close one a couple of innings ago, get batted down by the wind, but nothing going to hold this one back. Well, he was on base 2 innings ago when they had to review it. Came away 0 for 1, but left no doubt about that one. Boy, he hammered that one up there. That may be over, Frenchie's.
It came off the bat like a shot. His 4th home run of the year, and we have confirmation it cleared Frenchie's. Oh. For Gillis, just the 8th home run he's given up this season. I'll be honest, after 3 innings, if you told me the score was 4-1, who do you think has 4?
Right.
Might have said Tulane.
And who has the home run? So Cincinnati's playing some long ball.
That one gets away. Now Jace Mercer stands back in, even in the count with 2 outs in front of him. Really have to go back, but the last guy that I saw clear Frenchie's, hit it off the roof and bound over, was another Cincinnati Bearcat 10 years ago. Mercer pulls this one out of the glove of Jensen, but he should be able to take it himself, and does. Mike Spina was the man that did that one, but here, Mitch Holding blasts a 2-run bomb and puts his team up 4-1 with a shot over the bar stools at Frenchie's. We'll be back for more when we return here on the American Digital Network.
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same: the chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows. Every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
How do you drive impact for 200 years? By doing it boldly. By building a bridge, breaking a barrier, planting a flag, owning a stage. Because here, we learn by doing and believe the status quo was built to be broken. So be proud, be bold, be Cincinnati. We're 2 centuries in, and we're still creating what's next. We are boldly Bearcat.
You'd have to hit a ball 400 feet to clear the Frenchie sign in left field. Mitch Holding may have done just that. His team up now 4-1 after that 2-run blast in the bottom of the 3rd. We'll go to the top of the 4th inning, and Clayton Colvin, the starter, has been staked to a 3-run lead. Beautiful ballpark here, Spectrum Field, previously known as Bright House Field, the home of the Phillies, the Clearwater Threshers, and the spring training home for the 2-time world champions. Clayton Colvin has only faced a few over the minimum against this vaunted Tulane offense. Right now what he needs to do, Jeff, is continue to throw strikes, keep it off the fat part of the plate, and let his defense pick him up.
Do exactly what you've done. You've got a 3-run lead now. Don't feel pressure to hold the lead. Don't change anything you've done. He's changed speeds. We've seen him drop down to about 72, 73 on his breaking stuff. He's been able to run it up to about 90, 91. When he gets a slider, jams him in with a fastball. He's changed speeds. He's moved it around the plate.
Now Grant Matthews will come to the plate, ahead in the count 1-0. Matthews came into today's action in Clearwater, 4 of 15 over the last 2 years with an extra base hit and 3 RBIs. Matthews in his redshirt junior season for Coach Jewett. Won't offer it that one either.
Talk about a guy that can be instant offense 2 times this year against Ole Miss and USF. Just the triple, which in my opinion is the hardest part of a cycle. A triple shy of getting the cycle. Got some power, you can get a home run, a double. Fairly common in a single, but a lot of times you got to just get that right bounce out there in the alley or in the corner.
Pulled down the line and foul by a few feet. Murphy gave chase, the big tall 6'6" first baseman. Matthews smoked that one. Grant, part of that upperclassman group at Tulane that was recruited and played for David Pierce, who's now with the Texas Longhorns. Coach Jewett came in 3 seasons ago. Has them in a really good position here if they can put some runs on the board and get into the semifinals, they could play for a championship on Sunday. 2-2 is outside.
In his third year, I think the hope is Coach Jewett able to establish something under his tenure, stretch it out. Of course, David Pierce took the place of longtime great coach Rick Jones, took it to Omaha twice, but he was only there a few years.
Here's one on the ground. They play him perfectly. Mercer mishandles it, still got a shot, shovels it to first, and Murphy can't make the catch. Mercer, the junior, misplays this on a hop, and Matthews will be aboard to lead the inning off.
Well, we talked about these two teams playing on a natural surface for the first time. I don't think that had anything to do with it. But just never controlled himself. He knocked it down. He rushed it. It was going to be a close play regardless, but kind of trying to go with the glove. Then it hit his hand. Gave the first baseman Murphy really no chance to pick it up.
First error of the ball game for Cincinnati, and that makes all 4 Tulane leadoff men available to get aboard. Now Jonathan Artigues will come to the plate. Artigues drew a walk, stole a base, and scored a run after Glancy drove him in. The only run scored for Tulane so far. First pitch swinging, 88 miles an hour.
And David Pierce only there for a couple of seasons. Did a nice job while he was there. Made the jump over to Texas. Now Jewett in his 3rd season. Really trying to establish some stuff. Once this recruiting class, which has been very good, obviously cycles out, he has everything in place, runs with all of his recruits, has a system fully in place. And again, a great place to recruit to down at Turchin Stadium. And hey, who wouldn't want to spend 4 years in New Orleans?
Fastball rises away, 88 miles an hour again.
That's such a neat ballpark, too, wedged into that neighborhood. They've done such a nice job putting the football stadium in right next to the basketball arena. A lot of history, too, around that school. Long athletic history. Baseball, a proud program of those 2 trips to Omaha. Always like the story Devlin Fieldhouse on campus, formerly Fogelman Arena.
Right.
Funded with their Rose Bowl money from back in the 30s. They've done some nice renovations. Devlin Fieldhouse, a small arena, but I've seen it develop over the last 16 years. The renovation they did a really nice job. And a great job wedging that football stadium in there. A neat place to watch a ball game. I know the Superdome was nice to play in, but it's nice to have something on campus to call your own.
And, you know, it's a great place to watch a football game. The atmosphere there is spectacular, and they've opened it up, too, because football stadiums are in short supply in the city of New Orleans. So lots of high school games have been played there, big high school games. It's fun to watch on campus.
They had a deal in the neighborhood, as you do most residential neighborhoods, a lot of zoning restrictions. You'll go in there and notice one side of the football stadium significantly shorter than the other, but they made it work. I tell you, the press box view is great to call a ball game. You're right down there on the field.
1-2 swinging. Artigues hangs tough and sends that over by our third base camera well. It was back in 2016 when Tulane won the American regular season championship, the #1 overall seed. They wrapped out a pair of wins here in Clearwater, beat UCF twice, but were not able to advance to the championship game. That was the final season with Coach Price, who would later go to Austin and replace a legend, I believe, in Augie Garrido. Ball and 2 strikes. Now the count evens up. Artigues has already been on once today. Likes playing in this ballpark, 7 of 17 in his career. Still has another year of eligibility with the Green Wave. Grant Matthews standing on first. Called strike 3. Colvin sets him down. Second strikeout of the ball game, and Artigues is retired.
Froze him. He obviously is looking for a fastball or maybe a slider. Took a lot off of that one, just jammed him up there. Not expecting that pitch to come in. Nice 12-6 breaking ball just under the letters.
That'll bring up David Bedgood, the left-handed hitting DH, as Artigues retired. Bedgood 0 for 1, flew out to center field to start the second inning. 87 miles an hour on that fastball, fouled off. Let's get an update on the field from Haley Otten.
When these two teams met earlier in the season, Tulane took 2 of 3 from Cincinnati pretty convincingly. But in talking to Cincinnati head coach Scott Guggens before this game, he really feels that his team is at a much different place, that they're much improved at this point in the season. And Travis Jewett actually said the same thing about Cincinnati before this game, knowing that this was going to be a really challenging test for them. He also added that the weather here in Clearwater is just a little bit nicer than the weather in Cincinnati in late March, which is pretty believable because I don't think we could have a much more perfect night tonight for baseball.
Thank you very much. I concur. Everyone should concur. It is gorgeous down here. Perfect setting for baseball at the collegiate level, or any level for that matter. This one comes inside on Bedgood. He won't offer at it, and the count evens 1 apiece. This is the week of the conference tournaments for Division I baseball. It is the week of supers for Division I softball. Last week in the regionals for softball, there were snow delays in Minnesota. No such problem here in Clearwater. The 1-1, Bedgood lifts this one in the air. Weimer should have a play on it and left. He'll make that for the second out of the inning, and trotting back to first base is Matthews.
Coleman's done a nice job after the leadoff man, Grant Matthews, reached base on the air. Didn't let that get into his head. He knew there's nothing he can do about it. Comes back with a backwards K. Pop up the left. Again, he continues to keep Tulane in the air. You would have thought that would have been good with the wind blowing out in their power numbers, but they've really gotten up under the ball tonight. 6th pop-up of the game so far through 3 2/3.
Colvin now at 72 pitches. That fastball finishes a little bit high. He threw 73 pitches against Wichita State. That was a 3 2/3 inning relief appearance. And his longest outing of the year again came at Memphis, 6 innings, where he threw 94 pitches. Doesn't look to be laboring too much out there, Jeff.
No, he looks very comfortable.
Tough offense to work against. The bat breaking ball does not catch the outside corner, and the count goes to 2-0.
And the way he delivers, the way he pitches, he's not a max effort guy, and by that, I mean he's not trying to hit 94, 95 every time he throws the ball. Just works around the strike zone. Most of his stuff right around the 80 to 85 range.
Neiman up for his second at bat, 0 for 1, flew out to the outfield. Now he looks at called strike 1. Neiman has started 38 games as a sophomore. He's played in a total of 46. Looks pretty comfortable up there as an upperclassman. Colvin shakes off one. Now he's got what he wants. That one's a little bit high, fouled back at 88. Neiman had a couple of big nights in non-conference play, including against in-state foe McNeese, 4 for 4, a double, 3 RBIs, one of his best nights of the year. Stands in the back of the box. 2-2 will have to wait. The throw over to first, not in time. Colvin working very deliberately for the Bearcats, who lead this thing now by 3. And now he's fallen behind. Payoff pitch is coming.
Another thing that has allowed Colvin to be effective in this game, he's not allowed Tulane to double him up by that. I mean, there have not been back-to-batters reach. Trevor Jensen reaches, 3 outs. Leadoff walk by Artigues, 2 outs before another hit. There have not been back-to-back Green Wave hitters reach base in this ballgame.
Neiman, the Florida native from Sanford, looks at the payoff and fouls it back.
You talked about how Cincinnati's not the team that they were early in the year. We talked about that 1-9 start. And they played a pretty tough schedule in those first 10 games. At FAU, 38th in the RPI. They lost the series, and this was the tough one. 2 out of 3 to Houston Baptist at 221, but then midweek game at Indiana and 3 at Auburn. So didn't start out easy for the season.
Colvin back over again. Little surprised with so much riding on this game that, Colvin is not one of those guys who throws 100 pitches every start, that no one warming up over the wall in case he falters. He has limited the Green Wave to just 3 hits on offense. Now he comes set with a chance to get out of the inning. That one comes inside and he walks him. Second walk of the ball game, and that breaks a streak. So now 2 on against Colvin, and the tying run will come to the plate.
Well, Glancy's only had 1 hit in the tournament, but it was a big one. It was the RBI single earlier in this game. It's the only Green Wave batter to produce a run so far. He's got a chance now to cut this lead in half.
Matthews with good speed standing on second. Neiman now on first. And Glancy, the lefty, stands in. Jeff, now that I look into the bullpen, not only is no one up for Cincinnati, they don't have anybody there. That's Tulane in the bullpen with all of their guys over the left field wall. Colvin staring into Mitch Holding. Got to be careful with Glancy. Already 1 driven in. Offers at that one. Took a little bit off of it at 82 miles an hour.
Well, if Glancy gets a hold of one here, drives in a run or 2, and you got to be careful too. He's got 8 home runs. Not only could he cut the lead in half, but he could also tie this ball game with one with swing. If he can get a line drive, shoot it out to right field, then you may see a meeting on a mound. You may see some guys scatter from the third base dugout out to that bullpen.
That's like half of Tulane's lineup with 8 or more home runs. Guys are dangerous. The 1-1. Won't offer at it, and Holding's got to go down and get it.
Imagine you played 162 games. To put that in perspective, this lineup, basically, you'd have 6 guys that have hit 25 home runs in your lineup in a major league season. You have pretty much a modern-day murderer's row led by Cody Hosey.
Glancy up 2-1, probably looking for a strike here. And they won't get the call on the outside corner. Glancy listed at 6'1", 170, the redshirt junior out of Andover, Mass. Clayton Colvin trying to keep the Bearcats in the driver's seat here in the 4th. This one's put into the air pretty high. Right field. Bumpus will be called off by Johnson. Johnson will get it in right center field, and Tulane strands a pair here in the 4th inning. Bottom of the frame will return. Cincinnati coming to the plate, leading by 3, 7-8-9 due to the plate here on the American Digital Network.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve part-time in your community. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
4-1 Cincinnati in this matchup of top 3 seeds at the American Baseball Championships presented by the Air Force Reserve. Travis Jewett now in his 3rd season with the Tulane Green Wave, and he's found success.
83 wins so far in 3 years at Tulane, 18 years as an assistant coach. Spent a lot of time out west, Gonzaga, Washington State, Arizona State, then came over to this side of the Mississippi to coach at Vanderbilt, then made his way down to Tulane. His offense leads the conference. 10 different categories. Again, he's a Washington State alumni, and he has a chance to really get things going down in New Orleans, Turchin Stadium. We talked about that before. One of the finer facilities in college baseball, a built-in tradition there as he takes over. 21 regional appearances, 3 Supers, 2 College World Series, and that is very recent in 01 and 05. So things are in place for him to be very successful for the Green Wave.
Tulane back out on the field defensively, and they're going to grab some catcher's gear, run it out to the bullpen in left field.
I like how he didn't try to go around the warning track, just cut right through.
A.C. Owen, the senior from Brandon, Mississippi, doing the dirty work.
Got places to go. He studied. Those guys at Tulane are smart. Shortest ways between point A and B.
A.J. Bumpus will lead things off. Sends one down into the corner, but tailing foul. Right towards the Wawa sign in right field. Here's Keegan Gillis back out for his 4th inning of work. He's allowed 4 runs on 4 hits. Defense has committed 1 error behind him. Bumpus stung him with an RBI single back in the 2nd. AJ, the conference's all-time leader in triples, went 4 for 4 2 games ago. Now 14 3-baggers in his career. Swings at one on the outside part of the plate. Cincinnati players, just like New Orleans, have gone through a coaching change if they're in the upper class. Ty Neal, the former coach at Cincinnati, the recruiter of A.J. Bumpus, who was a 4-year player for the Bearcats. Fastball at 87 miles an hour, and you saw Gillis, the 6'8" right-hander, really working it to the plate. Might be laboring a little bit. Tulane does have a right-hander warming up in the bullpen.
Bumpus born early enough, actually a draftee in his sophomore season, 29th by the Cincinnati Reds.
The 1-2. Bumpus just gets a piece of this at the plate, fouls it back. Stares in against Gillis. Ooh, not close enough on the outside corner, and the count evens.
Really nice take. A underclassman probably bites after that one. He's the 13th batter. 12 batters the last 2 innings in the 2nd and 3rd here against Gillis. He needs an efficient inning.
Offers at this one. That'll be fouled away.
However, despite being down 4-0 here in the 12 batters through 2 innings, he's only a shade over 50 pitches, now sitting at 54. So pitch count, he's in much better shape than Colvin right now, even though Colvin's got the lead.
Two, and again, 81 miles an hour. Slows it down a little bit, and Bumpus is able to get a piece of it.
That's a frustrating thing for a pitcher. Trying to get that punch-out pitch. You just wave at it, flick it off, stay alive.
He'll send one back up the middle. He's 6 for 6 in 2019. 2 hits in this ball game, 4 in game 1.
Well, the percentages come through. They say the more a hitter fouls balls off, the greater his chance to get the base hit, drives it up the middle. And those foul balls, he's not trying to get hits. Those are close to being called strike 3, so he sticks it out there, knocks it off, waits till he grooves one to him, takes it right back up center.
Pretty impressive. You look back at his 4-year career here in Clearwater. Now has 13 hits over that span, batting .419. Bumpus, of course, was part of the fun in that Memphis game, the 15-14 game 2 years ago. Had a home run, 2 for 5, 3 RBIs. But again, it was the Tigers that got the best of him. Now Cole Murphy comes to the plate. You do not want to make a mistake here if you're Gillis. Murphy, 6'6", 230. Good power stroke. He stands in for the Bearcats.
Murphy's played now 43 games, 33 starts, long arms, but he's got just the 4 doubles, the 2 home runs. They'll look for him to put it in play. Wouldn't be surprised here. Bumpus has 6 stolen bases. Maybe try to manufacture something on a hit and run. They do have the infield shifted fairly severely over to the right.
You'll remember he reached on catcher's interference in his first at-bat. The senior standing in, ahead in the count, 3-0. Murphy played in 2 games for Cincinnati as a true freshman in 2016. Did wrap out a hit. And he'll take a 4-pitch walk. So for Gillis, he walks the 8-hole hitter for Cincinnati, who's hitting .224.
Well, I don't know what the thought is right now for Scott Guggens in Cincinnati. You've got your 9-spot hitter coming to the plate. Came into the game at .262, and Johnson only .220 with runners in scoring position. If you want to put these guys over, you have the top of the order coming up. Santiago has been on base. Bellini has not. Then Stapp got a single an inning ago. But if you have a chance to expand the lead a run or two, all of a sudden, midway through the ball game, it's not Cincinnati chasing a Tulane lead. It's going to be Tulane down 5, potentially 6 in this ball game, and now the Green Wave is going to go to work in that bullpen. They race some guys out there between innings, and it's a couple of right-handers throwing right down the bottom of the 4th.
Michael Slatton, a sophomore lefty, is warming up, and Krishna Raj also warming up. For Gillis, let's see if he can maximize what's left in the tank. We've seen him go as high as 91 miles an hour. Looks like that's Price. Robert Price warming up. Saw 38, instead it's 36. Gillis is ready to work to Jeremy Johnson, the 5'10" center fielder. Johnson into the 2nd inning when he flew out to center field. First pitch to him will have to wait. They'll walk the runner back. Johnson still with another season of eligibility remaining, a redshirt junior. That's a strike, and he'll pull the bat back.
Well, that's the thinking. We see it there on the first pitch. Want to get him over to 2nd and 3rd. You have Santiago a chance to roll one up the middle, maybe get a fly ball, assuming he can get these runners over to 2nd and 3rd.
Johnson batted .300 during the regular season series against Tulane, 3 for 10. Came across and scored some runs, too. Finds himself even in the count with 2 on and nobody out. First 2 batters of the inning have reached against Gillis. Really wanted to bunt that one down and move both runners into scoring position, but it's fouled away.
Cincinnati this year with just 15 sacrifice bunts. Jeremy Johnson leads the team. He has a third of those at 5. Don't know if it's good enough to risk a 2-strike bunt, though. He's showing no indication he's going to wheel around.
Green Wave could really use a double play here. The 1-2. Laced foul down the third base line. Boy, Johnson got out in front of that one in a hurry.
How would you like that? Not able to get the bunt down 0-2, then lace a double down the left field line. Hooked that one inside. He drove it well, just a little bit out front.
Coach Jewett would love to be able to get through this inning, not have to go into his bullpen just yet. Can Gillis settle down Cincinnati's offense that scored 4 runs on 5 hits? That breaking ball right over the corner of the plate, but finishes low. There's Coach Jewett. Still time for that Tulane offense to put the ball in play, despite the wind blowing in hard through right center field. This one's put into the air. Little soft liner, long run. But the catch is made. Going back was Gazzo. I don't know if Haskin could have gotten to that in time.
I think Gazzo's the only person who could have got there. Maybe Artigues, the second baseman. They are both equally as deep. But Haskin, that would have been a long way to go with the wind pushing in. Yeah, if they give that up to Haskin, that's going to fall in. You got the bases loaded. Maybe he's able to pick it up and you gun the force out at second, but still you're going to have a runner 90 feet away. Now with Cincinnati, you're talking about just a while ago, plenty of time for their offense. If I'm Cincinnati, I want to keep pecking away. I really wouldn't feel safe the whole game unless I somehow got up to a 9, 10, 11 run lead against Tulane. They can put big innings on the board.
Top of the order, third at bat tonight for Eric Santiago. He struck out, was walked, and later scored a run. That was in the third. Pennsylvania native, waiting for the first pitch from Keegan Gillis. And that one comes across for called strike one. Santiago, 6'1", 190, Pennsylvania native. Part of the American All-Academic team for 2 years. Played in 50 games as a freshman in 2017, 47 games as a sophomore. He is a vital part of what makes Cincinnati successful. Leading off tonight, still looking for his first hit. Gillis will walk the runner back.
First time I called a Cincinnati game with Santiago in it. Immediately I thought, well, let's see. Is he related to Benito? No, but he has got some history in his family. Sandy Lopez played in the Twins organization. His grandfather, Benigno, played in the Indians organization.
I'm looking at that as well. A draft pick for the Indians in 1955. They were World Series champs in 48 in Cleveland. They played again later, but I think that was the Lou Boudreau coach teams, back when you could still have a player manager.
I guess Pete Rose is the last player manager we've had that I can think of.
We were just talking about this. The previous coach for the Ole Miss baseball team, who had a nice career in the 1960s and 70s with the Cubbies, was their infielder for the time, was the last player manager.
Kessinger.
Yep, Kessinger. And it's got one of his grandsons on the Ole Miss team right now. But he was the last player manager in the American League.
Son Keith later coached at Ole Miss. Now they're color guy with David Kellum.
Yep. The 1-2. Santiago won't offer, and the count evens.
I think it was David I talked to, not David, but Keith, now the analyst, talking to him one day about his chance. He spent just a cup of coffee in the big leagues, but he said, I did it all. Got a hit, got a home run, made an error. I did everything. There's no rule against being player manager, is there? Just nope. They don't do it anymore.
Gillis staring intently in at Neiman, trying to get his second consecutive out. And he's got it. That one gets away. But Santiago retired and struck out for the second time tonight. That was a huge pitch.
Nice break on that one. And he's done a nice job after the single of the walk to come back and to get the next 2 outs. Really nice job. He just buries that in the dirt. He couldn't hold off on it.
Just the second strikeout of the game for Gillis, but couldn't have come at a better time. Now he'll face hot-hitting Joey Bellini. Right-hander stands in with 2 on, 2 out. the junior, your top hitter for Cincinnati in 2019. Came into the game hitting .298. He's since gone 0 for 2. Popped out to second, flew out to right field. Trying to solve Gillis, the junior pitcher for Tulane. Bellini won't offer there.
Well, it looks like Gillis is getting a little bit more confident in that breaking ball. Got the strikeout against Santiago, and he started Bellini out on the breaking ball.
Tulane fan taking some pictures here at Spectrum Field. Bellini, a 6'2", 190-pound junior and a Florida native. Grew up down I-4 in Winter Park, Florida. The 1-1. Breaking ball. Neiman giving it all he can to try and track this thing down, but it's foul by a couple of rows. Bumpus will have to go back to second base. Murphy standing on first. You know, anything into the outfield, and Bumpus has the wheels to come around quickly and score. Weimer's no slouch either.
Well, if he could just drive when you have Haskin maybe playing in a step. Glance, if he shoots one out the right side, is way in with that wind blowing in. They're going to shift Matthews back over a little bit toward straightaway left field. There's a pretty sizable gap in left center.
Weimer standing off first with, make it Murphy standing off first. So Bellini looking at a 2-2 now. Gillis wants to cycle back through the signs. He's thrown 75 pitches. He's got the Green Wave faithful behind him. Bellini stares on and puts this one into the air. Left center field gap. It's going to find its home in left center. Bumpus scores. Murphy being waved around. He will score. 2 RBI double for Joey Bellini. And Cincinnati raises their lead 6-1.
Big 2-out double for Bellini. They just shifted Matthews out of that alley back to straightaway left field. Said there was a gap out there. He found it and drives it all the way to the wall. And now Cincinnati's expanded the lead. They've really got some momentum. And all of a sudden here in the middle third of the game, Garrett, it's the Green Wave who are going to have to catch and chase the Cincinnati offense. Something we did not expect.
Well, if anybody's got the attack to do it, it's Tulane, who leads the conference in extra base hits and runs scored. But Coach Jewett is going to make a pitching change. We'll step aside momentarily, tell you about the new Greenie coming onto the field when we return after this on the American Digital Network.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to 35 miles of white sand bliss. But it's more than emerald surf and Gulf breezes. The beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of life, nature, art, music, or whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast in St. Pete Clearwater. Love the beach.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
We all dream about our next vacation, but some of us turn those dreams into action. The bookers, the doers, they hit that confirmation button and let's goers. Because bookers know that the perfect place to stay is right there for the booking. Be a booker at Booking.com. The world's #1 choice for booking accommodations.
Bernie scores! 3 strikeouts in a row. Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30! Unbelievable.
And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
New pitcher in the ball game is Robert Price, who comes in with plenty of size and good numbers as well. Price listed at 6 feet 5 inches tall. Jeff, let's talk about his numbers.
Big right-handed junior out of Morristown, New Jersey. 1-1, 16 relief outings and a save of 5.62 ERA, 24 innings, 31 hits, 15 runs all earned, 11 walks, 16 Ks, 307 average against the wild pitch, and 3 hit batters.
2 runs have come across in the bottom of the 4th inning. That chased the starter Keegan Gillis from the ball game. Now Cincinnati will bring Wyatt Stapp, the DH, to the plate. Stapp in 2 appearances today, 1 for 2 with an RBI single. First pitch, 86 miles an hour.
Did face Cincinnati on March 29th, his longest relief outing by innings, 3 1/3, 2 hits, no runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, 32 pitches. Pitch count, though, he has thrown as high as 47 pitches against Southeastern Louisiana, but has not thrown since May 14th.
So Price rested. He looks ready. The 1-0 to Stapp. Backs him off the plate. This time, 87 miles an hour. See the grip of the big, tall right-hander. This one's left out over the plate. A little late on it, though. It'll be fouled away third base side over Cincinnati's dugout.
Cincinnati did play a neat little series in the regular season. Talking about the intercity rivalry between Xavier and Cincinnati. They played at Marchot Stadium last Thursday, up in Mason at Prasco Park, and then in the regular season got to play in the home of the Cincinnati Reds, the Great American Ballpark. I know that had to be a real treat.
Stapp with 28 runs driven in on the year. Laces this one into left. They'll send the run around. Can he beat the throw to the plate? Slides in safe. Neiman couldn't get the mid on him. It's 7-1 Cincinnati.
What a job. That is 3 2-out runs, and Wyatt Stapp comes through. And I'm going to be honest, it got to Matthews quick. When they wave Bellini around, I knew it was going to take something special. That throw hits the grass and kind of dies right there. You see a little sand fly up. I agreed with the call. Even though you're the 2 seed, you're a team that's only won 1 tournament game the last 10 years against the great offense in Tulane. Take the chance.
Neiman sold it. Home plate umpire Matt Nader was not buying. So now another runner in scoring position for Joey Weimer. Weimer with that wild windup as the pitch comes to him. Reminds you just a touch of Craig Counsell.
Speaking of big leaguers, I believe it's Weimer. Take a look at him when he gets set up. I want to hold off who I'm thinking of. I saw him in Memphis. Tell me who he reminds you of on the initial setup. You'll spot it immediately right there.
That's Craig Counsell for sure. Or a Jose Canseco or
Julio Franco. See what I was going with. He does. He waves it around his head, but once he's set, he will bring it back down into the hitting position. A lot of people have little niches they do, little things they do, how they get the initial setup, but he'll bring the hands down into the hitting position. You'll see it here.
Whatever works. Fisted. It'll go right side, should be playable for Jensen. He'll step on the bag, and that will be the end of the inning. Back-to-back innings at Cincinnati, scratches 3 runs across. They lead it now 7-1. We're 4 complete going to the top of the 5th, and Tulane will come to the plate when we return here at the American Baseball Championships presented by the Air Force Reserve.
Sorry, huh?
NBA superstar.
Gatorade Zero. All the electrolytes, zero sugar. Get more out of zero.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
Be smarter and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health.
And promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
7-1 Cincinnati in this winner's bracket matchup, top of the 5th, and Tulane bringing their offense back to the plate. Clayton Colvin comes out for his 5th inning of work. He has handcuffed the Greeny offense to 1 run on 3 hits. His defense has committed 1 error in the field behind him.
One thing I would watch, 83 pitches, 54 strikes, could have an inning or 2 left in him. However, Colvin, a senior, even though he doesn't go deep in a ball game, say, could be the last time you're on that mound.
The senior from Dublin, Ohio's first offering is smarted back into right center field. Coming over is Johnson, and the leadoff man's aboard 5 innings in a row for the Green Wave. Salgazzo is on.
And that's the impressive thing. The leadoff man has reached every inning, yet they only have 1 run to show for. And again, he has not allowed the Green Wave to have back-to-back hitters reach base the entire game. They've not been able to string anything together. Now back to the top of the order. You got a 6-run lead, still not comfortable. Tulane, it's nothing for them to put 6 or 7 on the board.
This could be the guy to do it. Trevor Jensen 2 for 2 with a pair of singles in today's game. He'll take called strike 1 at 87 miles an hour. Jensen is now 7 of 18 in 2 seasons in Clearwater, having himself a nice tournament in 2019. The most pitches that Colvin has thrown this season was 94 in a lone start against Memphis. Count evens now at 1-1. Cincinnati has not made the semifinals of a conference tournament since 2008. It was in this stadium, the old Big East tournament. They would play the Louisville Cardinals in the championship game. And they had some names on that team like Mike Spina and Tony Campanis and a whole other host of players. Not quite enough to knock out Dan McDonnell's Cards, though. Here's the 1-1 by Colvin. Taking all the way is Jensen.
I left that one up. Colvin had been kind of in a groove, but as you mentioned, when we went to break, Garrett, that was a long half inning when Cincinnati was hitting with that 2-out rally to get those 3 runs. So he's been over there for a little while. He's going to have to get command of that breaking ball again.
Cincinnati fans will probably remember one of the marquee pitchers from that era a decade ago, Dan Osterbrock. Can never forget a name like that.
No.
Got into a couple of games, and in a conference tournament, you've got starters, and sometimes they'll go to coach and say, Coach, I'm ready. Put me back in. But you pitched 2 days ago. I'm ready, Coach. Some of those guys want the ball, and they're able to excel with it.
I believe we saw Tim Cate do it a couple of years ago. Started on the first day, came back. Started the championship game thinking, well, maybe he'll throw 3 innings. I think he got 6 or 7 out of that game.
Jensen ahead in the count. Already 2 singles in the ball game. Won't offer at that one. And he'll take the walk. Now 2 runners aboard for the Green Wave, and the player of the year coming to the plate against Colvin.
First back-to-back runners to reach base for the Green Wave. Now you got Hosey and Haskin, and all of a sudden this thing could get pretty tight. And we'll see if Cincinnati is going to start that bullpen moving around. It looks like they do out in left field. Yep, got a right-hander starting to throw.
Hosey was 2 of his first 3 in the opening game that they won. Then he drew a walk and was retired. He has not been on base since then. 0 for 2 today. An arm warming up for Cincinnati in the pen. Nathan Moore, the junior right-hander. This is a moment for him to get a little more loose, but also to compose your senior.
Well, if they want Nathan Moore, he's pretty good middle reliever this year in 22 outings, 2-0 and a save and a 3.97 ERA. So he could bridge this game if you get into a little bit of a jam trying to get to the back half of the rotation. Corinne Thompson is the guy likely you're going to see late in the game if Cincinnati holds that lead. He leads the Bearcats with 10 saves.
Coach Heilman will head back to the third base dugout. And a deep breath for Colvin. He's about to throw his 90th pitch of the ball game to Cody Hosey. Hosey with a home run cut, but the breaking ball, 76 miles an hour, is fouled back.
I know you've got 23 home runs on the year. You've got the power to put 3 runs on the board, but you don't want to get too big here and have another pop-up. They've flown out a lot here this evening. You want to barrel one up, drive one in the alley.
60 runs driven in on the year for the junior third baseman for Tulane. If anybody for the Green Wave was going to have an extra base hit, it would be this man, Hosey. But Colvin has limited them to just 4 singles.
Well, 8 of the 12 outs to start the game for Colvin against Tulane have been up in the air.
Gazzo off second. Jensen off first. Cozy not a lot to hit there.
Unfortunately, he's going to have to get a strike here or there. Haskin behind him provides him that protection at 379 with the 19 doubles and the 10 home runs. And you only have a base. You surely don't want to load the base in for one of the best freshmen in the league.
Hosey's now climbed ahead in the count, 3-1.
All right, if I'm Cody Hosey, I'm sitting here. I'm cranking up. You got a hitter's count with Haskin behind you. Hard to pitch around a guy with 23 home runs, and the next 2 guys have 10 each.
If I'm Hosey, I don't want them to let Colvin take the bat out of my hands. The 6'4 junior from Griffith, Indiana, looking aggressive. That one on the outside part of the plate, likely to be called strike 2, fouled back.
Well, that's where Colvin wanted it. He wanted to stay away, and Hosey got his cut in.
94 pitches matches that Memphis outing. This next pitch will be a career high. Still nobody out with 2 on for the Green Wave, looking to dig into this 6-run deficit. Hosey will offer at that one. I think Colvin's giving it all he can at 88 miles an hour.
Powered it in there, living on the edge. You left it belt high, just a little bit in.
For Colvin's career pitching for Cincinnati, from 16 to 19, he has 7 wins against 6 defeats. Has appeared in 65 career games. Big moment coming up here with the payoff pitch. Outside, and he walks the bases loaded. 4th walk of the ball game, 2nd of the inning.
He may have 1 batter left to face here in Hudson Haskin. and he'd be extremely thankful at that point if he could trade a double play for a run. Right now, you got to think damage control. Chances are, bases loaded, nobody out, you're going to give up at least a run. If you could hold them to a run or two, that would be outstanding, because Tulane could really blow up here, get back into it, but he won't be able to do it because his night is done.
A career high in pitches, and your pitcher, just an incredible performance by Clayton Colvin. We'll see who's coming in out of the left field pen when we return. Tulane with the bases loaded, looking to cut into that deficit. We'll be back after this on the American Digital Network.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to Clearwater Beach, the #1 beach in the U.S. as chosen by travelers on TripAdvisor. It's not just white sand and Gulf breezes. Beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast. Visit stpclearwater.com. Love the beach.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same: the chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows, every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
How do you drive impact for 200 years? By doing it boldly. By building a bridge, breaking a barrier, planting a flag, owning a stage. Because here, we learn by doing and believe the status quo was built to be broken. So be proud, be bold, be Cincinnati. We're 2 centuries in, and we're still creating what's next. We are boldly Bearcat.
The night's over for Clayton Colvin, your starter for Cincinnati. Now Nathan Moore, the 6'1", 205-pound junior, will take the hill.
Nathan Moore is the guy that's going to try to get him through the middle innings here and keep this game close. 2-0, 22 appearances, 1 save, 3.97 ERA, 34 innings, 29 hits, 16 runs, 15 earned, 21 walks, 32 strikeouts, a .240 average against 5 wild pitches. 7 hit batters, as you mentioned, out of Bishop Hartley in Columbus, Ohio. A year ago, made his debut against Louisville on May 9th, where he faced 4 batters. No appearances his freshman season in 2017. And right now, trying to hold the lead, and really, with the bases loaded, nobody out, needs to do some damage control.
He'll have to face Hudson Haskin. Fantastic freshman for the Green Wave, with the bases loaded and no one out. No taller order than that one for Moore. First pitch swinging. That one at 80 miles an hour and fouled back. Haskin, second among freshmen nationally with his batting average. 4th nationally with a .463 on base percentage. Moore comes set. Grew up in Columbus, so a Bearcat in Buckeye country. The first 3 men have all reached: Gazzo, Jensen, and Hosey. Gazzo standing off third base. Haskin tonight 0 for 2. Lifts this one up. If they make the catch in foul territory, they could sack the runner. Coming over is Jace Mercer. Calls off Murphy. He'll make the catch and hold the runner.
He knew immediately what he needed to do with Gazzo at third. Made the catch going away from the plate. Instead of trying to stop and ruin everything, he just takes a right turn and gets that momentum immediately toward home plate. Good job to make the catch and find that runner at third base. Now a double play, all of a sudden you could be out of the inning.
Grant Matthews for Tulane will try and guard against that. Matthews has reached on an error. Tonight he's 0 for 2. Top 4 of the lineup tonight for Tulane has just 2 hits. They both belong to Jensen. 89 miles an hour there by Moore. Jeff Moore faced them twice this year in the regular season. 2 different relief appearances, 2 innings in game 1, 2/3 of an inning at the end of March. Only surrendered 1 hit, 1 run. Sure, the scouting report is fresh in his mind. He's ahead in the count to Matthews, 0-1. Tulane needs the big hit. This one's going to be skied foul, third base side.
This is the big moment of the game right now. If Tulane gets the big hit, they get momentum, they get some excitement back in their dugout, they cut into the lead. If Cincinnati gets out of this with just 1 run, or heck, if they get a double play here, you talk about getting the wind knocked out of your sails and being put back on your heels, especially with the fact that Hosey and Haskins 0 for 5 with 1 walk in the first 5 innings.
Cincinnati won't hold any of the runners on. That one gets away. 90 miles an hour. First ball of the sequence to Grant Matthews. The left fielder for Tulane stands back in. One-two. Knocked down by Murphy at first. He'll cut off the runner. No, it gets away. 1 run is scored, and that ball got away from Mercer. Everyone is safe. So Tulane now makes it a 5-run deficit. That was a hot shot over to first base.
Yeah, I know Murphy wanted to make a play there, gun down the lead runner. He may have been better served just giving up the run, having the pitcher come over and cover first base. It would have been a close play as well, but he was over there. Just take the sure out for the second out. Still, they've got the same situation, bases loaded. Little things like that allow an inning to extend and really open things up. Likely just gave them that extra batter in the inning.
So Salgazzo comes around to score. And now Artigues comes to the plate. This one gets behind the catcher, and Holding finally finds that one. The runners will hold.
Jensen was in kind of no man's land. He wanted to come home. That ball would not get far enough away from Holding, even though he had trouble finding it. If he comes down the line at third, he's dead at the plate by the time Holding found it.
Tried to backhand that one. So Artigues, who scored the first run of the inning, or the first run of the game for Tulane, 0 for 1 today with a walk, and he'll draw an RBI here as he gets hit. And coming in to score is Jensen. It's now a 7-3 game. So a 6-run deficit cut to 4.
And now the train starting to move. The calm water starting to move out there. Wave trying to start rolling as they will check on Artigues down at first base. Just make sure he's okay. With little things, the fielder's choice when they wanted the force out, and now the hit batter as it rides in, got him on the bicep.
They give you a dead arm. Coach Jewett sends his soldier back out to first base. Bases remain loaded, still just 1 out. The only out of the inning was that pop in foul territory by Haskin.
And as you mentioned, it seems like every one of their orders got 8 home runs. Well, hey, here's David Bedgood. He's got 8.
Tulane's offense had been held scoreless for 2+ innings. They did have that 1 run in the second. But now Clayton Colvin has been chased from the game, the starter for the Bearcats. Nathan Moore plunks a batter, sends a run home, and the bases remain juiced for the Green Wave. Bedgood with 2 fly balls to the outfield today. Late on a fastball there. What we've seen from Moore so far is 89, 90 miles an hour with the fastball. Tulane could time that. Could find some success. Bedgood stands back in. Opposite field shot, left field going back is Weimer. He'll make the catch. The run will tag in from third, and Tulane has plated 3 here in the inning. Impressive run for the Green Wave. Now a 3-run game.
They are right back in the ball game, and a couple of free outs given up over the last 2 batters. That could have been out number 3, but Cincinnati left the door open, and all of a sudden, here comes the Green Wave. It's going to be the 8th Tulane player to come to the plate this inning.
Hosey is sacrificed in. The first 3 men to come to the plate in the inning have all come around to score now on Cincinnati. The catcher, Frankie Neiman, stands in. Still 2 on and 2 out. Neiman with 1 swing of the bat could tie the ball game. He's reached base back in the 4th via a walk. He's also flown out to center field, 0 for 1 today. Neiman, the sophomore, at 6 foot 205 pounds, out of Sanford, Florida. .89 miles an hour again, fouls it back.
Well, it's going to be Holding, Mercer, and Bumpus 5, 6, and 7 in the order for Cincinnati in the bottom of the 5th. See if they can generate a run, get an answer back. Because Tulane, if they're doing this in the middle of their order, you got to imagine Hosey and Haskett at some point are doing this ball game.
This one's hit hard into left field. Weimer coming in will make the 3rd out of the inning. But not before 2 runs come across, make it 3 runs come across on only 1 hit. This one will sack in the run. It's now 7-4, Cincinnati on top of Tulane. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th after this on the American Digital Network.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve part-time in your community. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
Three runs come across for Tulane and make this a much more palatable ball game. 7-4, the Cincinnati Bearcats with the lead, bottom of the 5th. And Cincy will come to the plate. Some Tulane fans, local fans here at Spectrum Field in Clearwater, Florida. Robert Price back out in relief of Keegan Gillis. And the middle of the order will come to the plate for the Bearcats.
See what Cincinnati can do here. They've given up 3 runs in the 5th. That puts Tulane right back in the ballgame. But I want to tell you what, the last 3 innings, don't discount Cincinnati's offense. They've done pretty well. 1 in the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd, 3 inning ago, and they did that one with 2 outs. The big double by Bellini, followed up by the single by Stapp. And you don't need to get the 3 runs back. You want, as I talked about during break, trade 2s for 3s, touchdowns for field goals, even though the Tulane offense can score a whole lot of them and get back into the ball game. You'd like to try to grab a run here.
Let's take another look at that home run as Holding comes to the plate.
Watch this thing clear Frenchies.
You got people off their bar stools running for a souvenir. Holding won't offer at that one. That ball left the park in the 3rd inning. This is his first at bat since.
Forgot who it was. We saw someone put it into Frenchies on day 1.
Hung up on the grass straw roof. Robert Price out of the zone there. Count now 1-1. Holding 1 for 2 today with that big 2-run bomb that you saw. Cincinnati cannot stop here. Can't stand pat with the 7-4 lead. Not against an offense like Tulane's. They've got to find a way to break through against Robert Price, who's coming in relief.
Mitch came a long way to get that home run, originally from Melbourne, Australia, by way of Odessa Community College.
Ball and 2 strikes.
Game of baseball has kind of gotten big down under in Australia. I know you start to see a few college rosters littered with some Australians. When I was in Cape Girardeau, I know Southeast Missouri somehow got a pipeline, had 3 or 4 Australians on those teams.
The 2-2. This one's lifted into the air. Right field. Glancy looks to have a beat on it. Running out of room. Makes the catch as he gingerly runs into the stands here. Good catch. First out of the inning.
Nice job out there in right field by Glancy. He's a junior. He's played in this ballpark before. He knows how to play the angles, and he's parallel with the wall. That's where it shoots way in. You got a ton of foul territory from dugout to dugout. Like a lot of big league stadiums, it cuts in. You don't have very much down those foul lines deep in right and left field.
Now Jace Mercer will come to the plate. If you take a look at the highlights, whenever Cincinnati scores, who's the first guy off the front step to congratulate everybody? Jace Mercer, the junior. Wasn't able to play in Cincinnati's 2 games last season, only made 12 starts after getting a lot of time as a freshman for Cincinnati. Today's ball game, Mercer 0 for 2. Flew out to center, also grounded out to the first baseman. Hit that one hard, right back up the middle. Mercer with his first hit of the game, and Cincinnati has their 9th hit of the ball game.
4th hit of the week after going 3 for 4 on Tuesday. He had popped up to center and grounded to first, so he's been putting the ball in place. Sets it up nicely for A.J. Bumpus with a pair of hits. See if he can move him around just off the tip of the glove of Price, and it makes its way into center.
Memphis was not able to figure out A.J. Bumpus. Bumpus went 4 for 4 against them. Tulane is still working on that math problem. He's 2 for 2 today. Came around to score in his last at bat in the 4th.
Here's an opportunity for Cincinnati to take advantage of their speed. You have Mercer over at first base with 20 stolen bases. Pretty good contact hitter here in A.J. Bumpus, who's had a really nice tournament at 6 for 6. Wouldn't be a bad opportunity for a hit and run.
Time called. Neiman battling back there behind the plate. The senior, A.J., came in hitting .269. He's raised that with a pair of hits tonight. He's ahead in the count 1-0. And let's strike one cruise by from Robert Price. Price gets right back there up on the rubber, works from the far left side of the bump. The 6'5" junior comes set. Mercer takes off, slides in. They got him. Neiman guns him down on second. I don't think Mercer can believe it.
No, I like the call, though. They didn't execute it, though. I don't know, not sure if he didn't get a good jump or just a good throw by Neiman. Neiman had only thrown out 7 of 47 on the season, so just the 8th runner, but a big one here in this ball game. Little skip and really nice pickup there as Gazzo's waiting with the ball.
A little bit closer than it looked at first glance. That ball did one hop to the bag. Bumpus now ahead in the count, 3-1. Two outs in the inning now. And we look at the rules for instant replay that the umpires have eligibility to. Base running calls are available after the 7th inning. I don't know if they'd be able to review that if they wanted to. Robert Price looking to work this inning now. 1-2-3. Inside, and Bumpus will draw the walk to keep things moving. He has reached base 7 times in a row.
Still a little early in the week, midway for the week, but 6 for 6 with a walk, making his case maybe to be on that all-tournament team again. Now you got something to prove. You mentioned they didn't have any all-conference players, so let's make a little noise in this tournament, see if we can litter that roster later in the week with Bearcats.
Now Cole Murphy comes to the plate. Tall first baseman for Cincinnati with a runner on and 2 out. Murphy reached on catcher's interference. He might have one all the way to the track here, but the catch is made by Glancy. Did a 360 to get there, but it's the end of the inning, and Cincinnati goes quietly. Our ball game's official. We're 5 complete. Tulane just scored 3 in the 5th. They'll look for more in the top of the 6th inning when we return. Glancy makes the catch on the American Digital Network.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to 35 miles of white sand bliss. But it's more than emerald surf and Gulf breezes. The beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of life, nature, art, music, or whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast in St. Pete Clearwater. Love the beach.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
7-4, Cincinnati leads the Tulane Green Wave. Top of the 6th inning here in our road to the semifinals. Championship game here on Thursday. Tulane fans looking on from Spectrum Field. So our winners bracket Thursday matchup. And back out is Nathan Moore for his 2nd inning of relief. Jeff, a run came across to score, but he never gave up a hit coming in relief, but Tulane was able to plate 3 there in the top of the 5th inning.
And officially, he wasn't charged with any of the 3 runs that inning, so Colvin gets tagged 4 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. Moore got the scoreless inning.
Luke Glancy, who just made the catch in right field, will lead things off for Tulane. First pitch swinging, and that's fouled at 88 miles an hour.
Well, Glancy, a really nice play out there in right field to end the inning, as you mentioned, on Cole Murphy. Murphy lined it up, but he hit it right in the teeth of the wind.
Look at that. The youngest Green Wave fans in the building. They've made the long trek here. Glad they're in the ballpark for a beautiful, clear night. Glancy behind 0-1. Moore loses control of that one. Count evens at 1-1.
I would anchor those kids down on that hill. They're right up there in the wind gust.
Moore comes set. This one's pulled to the right side. Picked up cleanly by Murphy. He'll take it 3 unassisted for the first out of the inning.
Little hop off that lip, but Murphy stepped to his left. Well, we're past the halfway point, and now the game's going to start speeding up a little bit. You're going to start running out of outs very quickly.
Sal Gazzo comes to the plate. 5 hits in his career in this tournament. Squares to bunt to get on, and that one wildly gets away from Holding. He's got to go out to his left to control it. Moore's an upperclassman. 6'1" junior. Nice pitch. 78 miles an hour on the change. Gazzo's out in front of that one. Sal on the season has played in every game but one. 53 starts in his junior year. 6 home runs, 29 RBIs.
Another big inning here for Moore. If you can go in order, you're going to save Hosey and Haskin to lead off the 7th. Get a couple guys on. They're going to be batting with RBI opportunities. And again, we've talked about how long can you get around those two guys. 0 for 5 with just 1 walk tonight.
About to pass 10 o'clock here in the Eastern time zone. Gazzo calls time, and now he'll step back into the box. Gazzo 1 for 4, 2 RBIs with that big home run in the win against UCF. Tulane was victorious 5-2 on Tuesday. What was interesting is that they got out early. 2 runs in the first, 3 runs in the second, and were held scoreless the rest of the way. UCF's offense wasn't up to the task, though, and Tulane held on for the win. Great pitching performance by Caleb Roper, who went the distance.
That was a game we expected a high-scoring game, and as you mentioned, after the first 3 innings, it lived up to that billing. At that point, we thought, well, this will be one of those 12-8, 13-10 type of ball games, but both pitching staffs really hammered down, especially as you mentioned Roper.
Roper held UCF scoreless over the final 7. Big swing and a miss by Gazzo, a strikeout for Moore, his first since coming on in relief.
That's 4 in a row retired now by Moore after he hit Artigues. Had a sac fly, a line out, a ground out, now a strikeout. Settling in. That rose just a little bit at the letters, and now he's got a chance for a 1-2-3 inning with Hosey and Haskin due up behind.
Trevor Jensen coming to the plate. Senior first baseman, a pair of singles, and he drew a walk in the 5th. Today he's gotten on base all 3 times. Comes to the plate, though, with 2 outs and nobody on. Moore starts him off with a 90-mile-an-hour offering. Jensen stands back in. That backs him back a little. Trevor second on the team in hits and runs, 3rd in doubles. Great season overall. He won't offer it that one either. Smartly so, works himself ahead in the count, 3-0.
Likely going to take all the way. I don't think you're going to green light this guy with the 23 homers standing on deck. Want him to take, maybe take 3 and 1, try to draw that free base.
That'll be called strike 1, just catches. Clayton Colvin gave up 4 walks before he was run out of the game. Moore has not issued a free pass yet in relief. Defense comes set behind him, and they'll walk him. All 4 times tonight, the leadoff man Jensen has been aboard.
We followed an 0-3 game, 0-for-3 game the other night. 2 hits, 2 walks. His bounce back really nice here in the winner's bracket. And now Cody Hosey's going to get another chance. 0 for 2 with a walk. Popped up, struck out, and walked in this ball game. Sometimes, Garrett, I think 2 out walks with nobody on end up being more costly than that leadoff walk.
Big home run cut by Hosey, trying to drive it to the deepest part of the parks. That one, though, 80 miles an hour, and he's a little aggressive out in front of it.
Weimer in left field is about 5 feet in front of that warning track. And, hey, there they are. They're ready. They're posting up in the outfield.
Hit me something, mister. This one gets away from Holding. That'll be an easy move for Jensen from first to second.
And again, the freebies are what cost you. 2 out walk. Now a wild pitch. Hosey doesn't need a home run, doesn't even need a double. Gets that in, and all of a sudden you got a 2-run ball game with Haskin coming up.
Right at the knees on Hosey, and they get the call. It's now 1-2, and he'll have to protect. Hosey is a 3-year starter for the Wave, but really put his career into overdrive with those 23 home runs this season. Had just 5 last year, but he was nearly a 300 hitter as a sophomore. 1-2, and he did not offer. Actually, home plate umpire Matt Nader will say that he did, and Hosey is retired on strikes for the 2nd time tonight. Big pitch, and you can argue the barrel did come around there for the end of the inning. 7-4 Cincinnati. Bearcats offense coming to the plate in the bottom of the 6th after this.
We all dream about our next vacation, but some of us turn those dreams into action. The bookers, the doers, they hit that confirmation button and let's goers. Because bookers know that the perfect place to stay is right there for the booking. Be a booker at Booking.com, the world's #1 choice for booking accommodations.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30! Unbelievable!
And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
We welcome you back into Clearwater, Florida, as the flag's blowing in towards us. 7-4 Cincinnati. Our winners bracket affair here Thursday night in Clearwater. Tulane back out on the hill. Trying to slow down this Cincinnati offense, which has hit the ball hard tonight. 7 runs on 8 hits. And leading off for Cincinnati will be their center fielder, Johnson. Jeremy Johnson tonight is 0 for 2 at the bottom of the order, but he's hit it hard, flew out to center field, and was retired at shortstop. Swings at this one. Should be playable by Artigues. He'll make the catch. 1 pitch, 1 out. Not a bad start for Robert Price in for his 3rd inning of relief.
Dangerous hitters down at the top of the order. Santiago's bid on. Bellini a double. A pair of hits by Wyatt Stapp. A couple of 3-run innings have been big so far for the Bearcats. See if they can start to piece together a run here or there. Had an opportunity an inning ago, but the runner Mercer caught stealing, kind of took the wind out of the sails.
Johnson is the only man in the lineup 1 through 9 who has not reached base tonight. Gives you an idea of what kind of night the Bearcats have had.
Well, they pieced it together. They're balanced up and down the lineup. They'll put the ball in play. Again, they don't have the big numbers if you look at the stats, but they find a way to push runners over, sack flies, a few bunts here or there, take a ground out or a fly out to move a runner from second to third.
Price has to love that pitch. Sneaks back across against the right-hander in the count 0-2. This one comes in towards the right-handed hitter. Hosey picks it up, fires over to first in time. All-conference third baseman. And Santiago's retired. 2 quick outs.
Shortstop number 2, Joey Bellini.
The winner of this ball game will advance to our Saturday, May 25th semifinals. And the loser will play tomorrow in Game 2 against the University of Central Florida Knights. Should have another great game to start off the day on Friday as Bellini takes a fastball high. ECU and Wichita State Part 2. Can the Shockers do it again?
Be a fun rematch. The Shockers nearly pulled it off tonight. It was a good game with UConn. I know Jim Penders thought it was an ugly game. It was fun for fans to watch.
Another one to Hosey. Shows off the gun over to first. 1, 2, 3 for Robert Price. So the reliever. 3 innings, looking strong. Tulane coming to the plate. They're down to their final 9 outs. Let's see what they can do, trailing by 3.
Are you mob? Get set. Let's go. It goes.
It's all right, huh?
NBA superstar.
Gatorade Zero. All the electrolytes, zero sugar. Get more out of zero.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
Be smarter and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health.
And promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Middle of the order coming to the plate for the Tulane Green Wave here in today's winter bracket matchup. Top of the 7th inning. And the visiting Green Wave will bring Haskin, Matthews, and Artigues to the plate after Hosey was caught swinging through a pitch to end the last inning. Nathan Moore's looked pretty sharp in relief of the starter, Clayton Colvin. A couple of runs came across for Tulane in the 5th inning. He has yet to give up a hit in relief. He did walk Jensen to put him on, but then struck out Hosey. You see the wind blowing through the beautiful palms here in Clearwater. We've got a great Memorial Day weekend on tap in the Tampa Bay area. One of the great places to spend any holiday weekend. So now Hudson Haskin will come to the plate. Freshman 0 for 3 tonight. Top of the lineup has only produced 2 hits, 1 through 4. Both hits belong to Jensen. So everyone else trying to get on track. Haskin will try and get things going here in the top of the 7th.
They're going to start finding a way to drive some balls in gaps. The 4 hits tonight, all singles. The only time, and it's only happened once this year, April 26 at ECU, they lost 14-0, got 8 singles, 6 walks. The only game they've had no extra base hits in this year.
Fastball, 87 miles an hour, and that one's fouled back by Haskin. Hudson will stand back in. Came into today's ball game batting .379 in his freshman season. And he's hit the ball hard, but not able to wrap out a single just yet. Here we are in the 7th inning, and Tulane does not have an extra base hit yet. Just 4 hits in the game, all singles. And Haskin will step out of the box.
You know, they set the table pretty well tonight. Up until the 6th inning, they had the leadoff man on every inning.
That one finishes out of the zone, and the count now goes 2-2. Nathan Moore, the junior, staring into Mitch Holding. That one's put in the air on the outside part of the plate. He pulls it towards center. Johnson will make the catch. And for the first time tonight, the leadoff man does not reach for Tulane.
You know, highly unlikely with Tulane's offense, but possible. That could be the last time you see Hudson Haskin hit in this ballgame. You're going to see Hosey have to come through the rotation one more time. He could be the last out of the ballgame if they go perfect through the next 3 innings. But that tells you how well Cincinnati has pitched.
Squaring to bunt. This one going down the left side of the infield, but it will roll foul. Jeff, we start looking forward to tomorrow's game. The loser of this one will take on UCF in another elimination game on Friday. And for Tulane, you got the great effort by Caleb Roper, who had a complete game victory in game 1. Keegan Gillis started this ball game, and when you look at the rest of the guys who can start, Chase Selesky is one of them who's got 13 starts on the year. He's 6-3. And then the only other guy who's got considerable starting experience is Krishna Raj, who we saw warming up as a reliever earlier in this game. Matthews pops this one foul, third base side.
Yeah, no, Raj, as you mentioned, warmed up earlier this ball game. Is kind of one of those hybrid guys, 19 outings, 6 starts, a 6.02 ERA. I would go check the situation on a Josh Bates, who's had 9 outings, 3 starts, only 18 innings. ERA significantly lower at 2.89. But, of course, I could go check with Ty Graffinini tomorrow if they're going to play, see maybe if he's had any injury trouble, because his numbers look good, just not a lot of innings.
Justin Campbell warming for them. Mercer throws over, and the catch is made. Nice job by Moore to field his position. That's the second out of the inning, and it was in doubt for a moment.
Well, smart play by Murphy. He broke to his right, so he was going to commit at least to moving to his right. Smart enough that time not to try to backhand and try to throw off balance to the pitcher. 2 guys in motion with the ball in between usually ends up not as an out. So let Mercer, who's very solid, take the out. Still not an easy play with Moore on the run.
Jonathan Artigues will come back up to the plate. 3 at-bats in today's ball game. He's walked and scored a run, struck out and been hit by a pitch. Today's 0 for 1. And this offering by Moore gets all the way to the backstop. Both of his parents graduated from Tulane, and if you recognize the last name, his uncle Jay Artigues, the former head baseball coach at Southeastern Louisiana, currently the athletic director. And it is a Tulane greenie who is the head coach at Southeastern, Matt Reiser. The 1-0. Moore can't get the call there, and now Artigues is up 2-0. Jonathan, 6 foot, 186 pounds, a Mississippi native. Went to high school out in Bay St. Louis. State Stanislaus. Went to high school there anyway. The redshirt junior won't offer at that rising fastball, and he's quickly ahead in the count, 3-0. Artigues in this tournament all time is 7 of 18. Nice tournament last year for the Green Wave. 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored. But all the big hitters have been kind of quiet this evening. See if Artigues can put a charge into one. Taking all the way on 3-0. Jonathan does have 9 doubles on the year, 26 runs driven in. A .320 hitter.
You know, really, this game's been flip-flopped to how he thought it may be played
Takes a 5-pitch walk, and Tulane has a base runner.
And by that, Tulane is the team now with 4 singles that's had to piece runs here or there any way they could do. Rely maybe on a fielding mistake, a free base, get a single here, a single there. Meanwhile, Cincinnati, they've got the 2 big extra base hits, the 2-run homer by Holding, the 2-run double by Bellini in the 4th inning. They're the team that's had a couple opportunities to drive ball in gaps, also Weimer double. So they've had the 3 extra base hits in the ballgame.
6 walks drawn by Tulane in this game. 2 of them belong to Moore in relief. He walked Jensen, now he walks Artigues, and that'll bring up Bedgood with 8 home runs. Had a sac fly RBI back in the 5th. He's 0 for 2. Nice stab there by Holding. Artigues has pretty good speed. 7 of 8 on the base paths, but with 2 outs, you wouldn't expect a run. If you can get a run here, a run in the 8th, a run in the 9th, don't have to do it all at once. That one finishes low again by Moore. A left-hander warming for Cincinnati in the bullpen, and Tulane has an arm up as well. That's a nice number if they'll let you wear it, 42. Makes me think of Jackie Robinson every time.
Absolutely. That's one number you're not going to forget.
Corin Thompson warming up for the Bearcats. Could be an extended save for him to try and get them to the semifinals. We haven't seen him pitch yet. He is their leader out of the bullpen with 10 saves on the year. Swings at this one, and it'll be into right field. Motoring around second is Artigues. They'll hold him up there, and now runners on the corners. David Bedgood has his first hit of the night, and the first single for the Greenies since the 5th inning.
2-out opportunity now to score a run. Frankie Neiman. Outs are going fast. They've got 7 outs now to use on offense to try to make up these runs. Another 2-out hit, or if they can get a wild pitch, somehow get this run in. 2 runs, pretty manageable. You mentioned Thompson out there getting warm, may have to go and get stretched out a little bit in this game. His season high 2 innings came against the Green Wave back on March 31st when he went 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 run. It was earned, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. That was a 7-6 Bearcat win, that series finale. So he's got experience. He was able to lock it down against the Green Wave in that ball game. So again, 2 innings is the season high, but they, you know, you got a chance to get a win here and get to Saturday. Go ahead and get them out there if you've got to. They're talking it over as they're going to come to the mound. We'll see if they make this call.
Scott Guggens, head coach for Cincinnati in his 2nd season, calls time, goes out to talk with Nathan Moore, his reliever. In this inning, Moore got a fly ball out, a ground ball out, but then he walked Artigues, gave up the single to Bedgood, and they have made the call. They're bringing in the hammer. 10 saves on the year, 7 outs remaining. Tulane with runners on the corners. We'll tell you about the stopper coming into the game for the Bearcats, trying to go 2-0 in this tournament here on the American Digital Network.
On your mark, get set, let's go. It goes.
It's all right, huh?
NBA superstar.
Gatorade Zero. All the electrolytes, 0 sugar. Get more out of 0.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
Be smarter and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with 1 drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health.
And promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to Clearwater Beach, the #1 beach in the U.S. as chosen by travelers on TripAdvisor. It's not just white sand and Gulf breezes. Beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast. Visit stpclearwater.com. Love the beach.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power Six conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Gorgeous night in Clearwater at Spectrum Field. We've got a red-hot ball game brewing here in the 7th inning as Tulane, trailing by 3, has gotten deep into the bullpen. The closer for Cincinnati now out on the hill, and Corinne Thompson, who's 6'5", 230.
1-1, 24 outings, 4.23 ERA, 10 saves, 27 2/3, 25 hits, 13 runs all earned, 17 walks to 34 strikeouts. Coach Guggens feels now's the critical time.
First pitch fastball is 90 miles an hour to the catcher, Frankie Neiman. Neiman in today's ball game 0 for 2 with a walk.
He had a season high 2 innings and 4 strikeouts in the win over Tulane earlier this year.
Neiman swings at that one and fouls it off. Count now 1-1. Jeff, Tulane had a single in the first, an RBI single in the second, another single in the 5th, and then that single that chased the runner was Bedgood's. Look at A.C. Owen on deck in a pinch hitting role. They have not had 2 hits in the same inning any time in this game. They do not have an extra base hit in this game. And now Neiman's behind in the count, 1-2.
Well, this is only the 2nd inning. The 5th and the 7th, they've had back-to-back hitters reach base. If you're unable to string a couple of guys together, it's hard to score runs. That's why they were successful in the 5th, and they've got an opportunity here. They're trying to get this with 2 outs, though, after they retired Haskin and Matthews to start the inning.
Thompson wants to come off the hill for a moment. It's his first season with Cincinnati after making 2 years with Wabash Valley Community College over in Mount Carmel, Indiana. Fastball at 91 miles an hour is elevated, and Neiman smartly lays off.
It's a lot like a pitcher. If you can't string back-to-back strike together in a game, you're really going to labor.
Neiman went 1 for 4 in the win that they had against UCF. Fouls back that fastball. Thompson came in and inherited a jam. He's got runners on the corners and the tying run at the plate. Let's see if he tries and dials up the fastball here with a 2-2 count. That one's high at 92. Pretty impressive, 10 saves on the year for Thompson. He's only made 24 appearances, almost 1 save every 2 appearances for the junior. That one got away from him, and he will walk the bases loaded.
Not unusual to see a closer in and do something like that. They're kind of hyped up, amped up, maybe takes them a batter. You'll see the walk, then they'll kind of settle down. I know Scott Guggens is hoping that's the case here. But all of a sudden now, with these 3 batters reaching, you're going to see Hosey and Haskins again before this game's over, maybe as soon as the next inning.
Credit to Tulane because they haven't been able to do it with the bats, but over the last 3 innings, they have drawn 5 walks and gotten some of those guys to come around and score. Owen now, your pinch hitter, coming to the plate. This is Kobe Owen, redshirt sophomore out of Bel Air, Texas.
10 saves here for Corinne Thompson, tied for second in the league with Villarreal and Neal.
Thompson has not looked sharp or comfortable up on that rubber. Kobe Owen on the season hitting .242. He's now appeared in 43 games and had 36 starts coming into Clearwater. Owen, another one of those big boppers. Kobe with 10 home runs on the year, 32 RBIs. Now Thompson needs to do what you made a point of, throw back-to-back strikes.
He's got nowhere to put him. He does have a pitch to waste. I think right now I'd rather just come at him.
And he did. Strikeout to leave the bases loaded. The big man comes in relief and slows down Tulane's offense. It's stretch time here in Clearwater. When we come back, Cincinnati's offense will try and add to their 7-4 lead. You're watching the American Baseball Championships presented by the Air Force Reserve.
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same: the chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows. Every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
How do you drive impact for 200 years? By doing it boldly. By building a bridge, breaking a barrier, planting a flag, owning a stage. Because here, we learn by doing and believe the status quo was built to be broken. So be proud, be bold, be Cincinnati. We're 2 centuries in, and we're still creating what's next. We are boldly Bearcat.
Welcome you back into Spectrum Field, Bright House, formerly Clearwater, Florida, and we're now headed to the bottom of the 7th inning as the Chicken Dance plays. They have a great crew here to play all the music and keep all the fans entertained. Now Cincinnati will come to the plate. They will see Robert Price out in relief again. The Bearcats with 7 runs on 8 hits. They have not been able to score a run for 2+ innings though, and they lead Tulane, the number 3 seed, by just 3 runs.
Like the call by Scott Guggens to go ahead and get Corinne Thompson in. Right now you've got a chance to get another day off, play in the semifinals. It's postseason play. You come in as the 2 seed this year. You have your first tournament win in 10 years. You don't want to risk waiting until the 8th or 9th. Well, maybe we can get through this inning. By then it's too late. It's a lot like saying on Tuesday, I'll start a Tuesday or Wednesday guy, then bring back my rotation. You want to throw someone. You want to throw your best option early in the tournament. You want a chance to knock this game out.
You got to feel like he's pretty comfortable now, too. He just struck out Owen, who has 10 home runs with the bases loaded. See how he comes out for the top of the 8th against Tulane. Now Wyatt Stapp, the DH. Saw that one come through. He'll stand back at the plate. Stapp with a pair of RBIs in today's ball game. He's 2 for 3 with 2 singles. Stapp had that big single back in the 4th inning, right after they changed pitchers. Kind of rudely greeted Price into the game. Tulane with a left-hander warming. We saw him last inning. That's number 30, Justin Campbell, the sophomore southpaw. That one comes inside.
The defensive switch for Tulane. Owen, who pinch hit, now in center field. They took Glancy out. Haskin moves from center over to right.
He'll swing at that one, and it gets through. How did he find the open real estate? Stapp somehow does it and has his third hit of the ball game.
They had Gazzo shifted over with Artigues, but threads the needle. Darren, I've seen all these shifts this year in college baseball. We've seen them out here. I mentioned on the radio broadcast for Memphis. My thoughts is they don't work. I've seen so many base hits go through the shifted infield this year.
Now the cleanup man, Joey Weimer, will come to the plate. Had a big double back in the second inning. Reached on a fielder's choice in the third. Today's 1 for 3. Weimer's a guy that can give you a little breathing room if he connects with one and sends it over the left field wall. Runner on first and nobody out. Weimer staring in. Had a nice freshman season. It was on the all-academic team for the American. 266 hitter, 5 home runs, 22 runs driven in. Played in 45 games with 43 starts. They'll lay off that one, but it's called strike 2. Has 11 home runs to his career. And almost 50 RBIs. That one finishes outside by Price. The fourth inning of relief there for Robert Price, who still seems to be very in command of his stuff. This one's hit on the ground into the hands of Hosey, looking for 2. That'll pull the runner off the baseman off the bag and sliding into third base. They'll have a chance to get Weimer. Tries to pull his arms up and he will be gunned down on the throw by Hosey with Gazzo covering. But a runner on third base for Cincinnati. This one got to Hosey so quickly. Throws down, and it pulled Gazzo off the bag.
Well, that's too bad for Cincinnati. It's good and bad. You had the runner 90 feet away, and fortunate Weimer saw that bag open for a split second, runs into the first out of the inning. But you're still good. Less than 2 outs just to get the runner in 90 feet away. Holding doesn't need to do anything special.
Bunting opportunity,
yeah,
of course. I don't think that's the end of the night for Robert Price, but the pitching coach will come out and have a talk with him.
Well, bunt opportunity or get a fly ball. Squirt one through the infield. Make one of the middle infielders move laterally. There's a few options to get that run in from third, expand the lead back to 4 runs at 8-4. You do have Gazzo, Jensen, and Hosey will come to the plate in the third. So the fact that they were to expand the top half of the inning is going to allow Tulane to send those 2 very dangerous hitters back to the plate.
Price, in 3+ innings of relief, has only allowed 3 hits and no runs for the last 2+ innings. Cincinnati leads it 7-4. They have a runner on third with only 1 out. Holding already with a huge home run tonight. Will they ask him to drop a bunt? Or will he try and barrel one up to the outfield and sacrifice the run in with a fly ball? Would be nice to have Weimer standing on first base right now with nobody out. But Holding will come back here. 2-run home run way out in left field in the third. He's 1 for 3 this evening. Swings through that one and foul tips it. Wyatt Stapp standing off third base for the Bearcats. Foul tipped that one back into the mid.
Well, he wanted to elevate that one out of the ballpark, that swing. I'd shorten up a little bit.
Price trying to get another strikeout.
If I hit one over Frenchie's earlier, I'd probably be trying to knock one out of here again, too.
This one's hit on the ground. Played off of Gazzo. The run will plate. Holding is cut down for the second out, but it's now 8-4, and Cincinnati has doubled up Tulane here in the bottom of the 7th inning. That ball was hard hit.
3 RBI by Holding tonight. He's got 17 on the season. Hammered that ball, and with the infield drawn in, Gazzo, that split-second reaction.
Nice
Only thing he can do, yeah. All he could do is get the out, and you mentioned the great job to get the out. Didn't panic, didn't try to come home. He knew once that ball ricocheted, he had no chance to get that runner at the plate.
3 RBIs in the ball game now for Holding. He's pumped his season total up to 17, and Jace Mercer will come to the plate. Junior second baseman. They back him off the plate a little bit, but still rung up for strike one at 86 miles an hour.
That's the first run Cincinnati scored since the back-to-back 3-run innings in the third and the fourth. So get something back for the offense. Holds off Tulane just a little bit longer. Tulane down to 6 outs to go, and now it's a 4-run lead they've got to make up.
Mercer was 3 for 4 yesterday with 3 runs scored. Today 1 for 3, had a single in his last at bat right up the middle. That one back down to 77 miles an hour by the reliever Price. Number 30 for Tulane, Justin Campbell, continues to warm. Mercer swings at this one. Opposite field. Going back is Matthews. He'll make the catch just in front of the track. And that's the end of the inning. But not before 1 run comes and scores on 1 hit. None left on. We'll go to the top of the 8th. We're 7 innings complete. And Cincinnati has Tulane doubled up 8-4. You're watching the American Baseball Championships presented by the Air Force Reserve.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve part-time in your community. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
Corinne Thompson back out for his second inning of relief. Had a strikeout to end the last inning with the bases loaded. Slowed down a rally from Tulane. The Green Wave trail the Bearcats now 8-4 after Cincinnati pushed 1 more run across in the bottom of the 7th.
Run is really big, gives them a 4-run lead because with Tulane putting some runners on in the top half of the 7th, it is going to force Hosey and Haskin, Hosey in this inning, to come back to the plate. You've held them in check so far. You're still in the back of your mind. I know Scott Guggen's thinking, hey, these guys between those two are 0 for 6, 0 for 7 with 1 walk. They're due eventually. Can you get through that part of the order just one more time?
He'll start things off to Gazzo, who singled back in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. And unfortunately, Tulane down to their final 6 outs here. This one's popped up foul. Not able to generate the powerful offense that they're used to against Cincinnati. This is a senior class, though, for Tulane that has helped resurrect the program. And by that, I mean they had back-to-back losing seasons, which was just not something that Tulane has been used to over the last 20 years, make it 30 years. But this senior and junior group has been able to, they had a regional in 2016, an American regular season championship, then they went down to 27 wins, back-to-back losing seasons. Now they're right back where they want to be. 30-plus wins as this one's lifted into the air. Bumpus will make the catch for the first out. In contention for NCAA regionals and an offense that you can be very proud of.
Well, coaching changes sometimes aren't the easiest, and it was a strange situation as David Pierce came in and made an immediate impact. They got really good really quick, and then I know some of them, felt a little stiff. It's the nature of the beast. Coaches move around this day and age. Didn't stay very long. Took off to Texas. Travis Jewett came in. He's got a little bit of different system. Sometimes it takes a little time for both parties, both players and coaches. You form the relationships. You get the system ingrained in there. Recruiting classes come in, but as you mentioned, it's on the upswing. Again, 32 wins. Their tournament's not over. If they don't come back tonight, they got the offense still to push them through Saturday, maybe even Sunday. And now you can see things starting to move again for the Green Wave. Coach Jewett has everything he needs in place down in New Orleans to really elevate that program back to where those fans and those players expect it to be.
Even when they had that losing season in 17, they still had the player of the year in the American in Hunter Williams, who's gone on to the minor leagues in a professional baseball career. Player of the year this year in Cody Hosey as they're back up above 500. Trevor Jensen's had a nice night at the plate. He's 2 for 2 with a pair of singles. He's also been walked twice and scored a run. Green Wave offense has drawn 7 walks. They've been able to score 4 runs on 5 hits this evening. Jensen behind in the count, 1-2, won't offer at that. Corinne Thompson has been able to pump it up to 92 miles an hour that we've seen so far. The 6'5" left-hander sends this one on the ground. Mercer with a clean pickup at second, throws over to first for the second out of the inning. Tulane is down to their final 5 outs.
The first time he's been retired in this ball game. He's been red hot setting the table. But get you 2 away now for Cody Hosey. And again, Hosey's going to bat with nobody on. Worst he can do is make this thing a 3-run ball game. This is when you want to challenge Hosey.
Struck out in the 6th, K'd in the 3rd. He drew a walk in the 5th. Tonight, 0 for 3. Hosey hits it hard and in through the hole between shortstop and third base. So a 2-out single for Hosey, his first hit of the game.
You challenge him. He won the battle. The only thing that's not really a positive, you now have Hudson Haskin coming in behind him, but take your chances. You can't dance around him. Look, if you're going to face the guy with 23 home runs, I think you're perfectly satisfied holding him to 1 for 4 with 1 walk tonight. If you don't make the mistake and leave one out there for Hudson.
So Haskin comes to the plate now. A couple of fly ball outs. He's 0 for 4. For Hosey, the top 4 in the order finally break through. Jensen was the only one in the top 4 in the order that had a hit on the night. Now Hosey joins him. Matthews standing on deck does have an RBI, and he's reached on an error. Holding comes set behind the plate. Makes the catch. Count now 1-1. Gets into that one. 91 miles an hour. He's a little bit late.
Then dance around him a little bit now. 1-2. Waste a pitch, maybe 2. I don't know if you want to waste 2, but you can waste 1 definitely. You leave 1 a little bit out of the zone, see if he'll chase.
How talented is Haskin? Hit .432 in league games. That led the conference. That won't be fouled out of here. And now Corinne Thompson, 1 strike from getting out of the inning. A 1-2 count with 2 outs and Hosey on first base. Tulane really has to battle here at the plate. Again, the tournament won't be over for whoever loses tonight. It'll be tough to come back. Back-to-back singles for the Green Wave. He's got his first hit of the evening. And now Matthews comes to the plate to make it more interesting.
Now the 2 big sticks with a couple of 2-out singles. They'll keep the inning alive. He just goes to the outside, stays with it, drives it over to right field, and now Grant Matthews is going to have an opportunity, and this junior's got to come through. 13 doubles, 10 home runs. He's got big numbers. It shows you how good their offense is. We've really not talked about Grant Matthews. 54 RBI on the year. If they didn't have Hosier Haskin, we'd be talking about what this great hitter has done all year. He's sitting behind a guy with 23 home runs, but he gets a hold of one. He's going to be hitting into the teeth of the wind, but if he puts one down in the corner, 2 runs likely could score. And all of a sudden you got a 2-run game, and that's much more manageable in the ninth than 4 runs.
Mother Nature has helped neutralize Tulane tonight. The flags have blown in from the first inning all the way here to the top of the 8th. The left-handed hitters have not been able to take advantage of that generous jet stream we've seen in the past blowing out of the ballpark. All of those banners coming in towards center and right field. So Hosey off second, Haskin off first. Matthews with a big cut there, and he falls behind. Same position now for Corinne Thompson. A strike from getting out. Junior college transfer from Wabash Valley. Piled up 10 saves in the regular season. Come set. 1-2 is too far inside.
Tried to backdoor him that time, I think. Just didn't get the break.
Grant Matthews on the year has drawn 25 walks. Good eye at the plate. Tulane tonight has picked up 7 free passes. Wow, a huge strikeout. Back-to-back innings that Thompson has struck out Tulane with runners on base. Green Wave down to their final 3 outs as the 6'5" flamethrower gets the call on the outside corner. Cincinnati up 8-4. We'll be back after this on the American Digital Network.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to 35 miles of white sand bliss. But it's more than emerald surf and Gulf breezes. The beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of life, nature, art, music, or whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast in St. Pete Clearwater. Love the beach.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Tulane with a new pitcher coming into the ball game. He will be the 3rd pitcher tonight for the Green Wave in relief of the starter Gillis and the reliever Robert Price. Campbell, number 30, up on the hill, the lefty.
Justin Campbell 1-3, 30 outings. He does have 1 start this year, a pair of saves, 4.70 ERA, 46 innings, 39 hits, 26 runs, 24 of those earned, 17 walks to 46 strikeouts, just a .235 average against 2 wild pitches. He has hit 8 batters. He faced Cincinnati March 31st at Marchot Stadium. 2 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks. He struck out 2, and he threw 38 pitches.
For Tulane, since joining the conference in 2015, they have never won their first 2 games in conference play. They trail here by 4. Cincinnati has an even bigger logjam than that. They had never won a conference tournament game in 10 appearances here in the American until they finally broke through against Memphis. They are trying to go 2-0 for the first time in American tournament play.
And I don't care what seed you are, what your record is, what your stats say. If you make it to Saturday, you've got to be beaten twice. You've got to get swept in a doubleheader. The old adage is about 70-75% of doubleheaders are split. You got good odds to get to Sunday if you can hold off Tulane in the ninth.
I think the team I've seen do that most often is UConn. And I can remember specifically in 2007, the USF Bulls got up 2 games, and UConn came back and beat them and got to play in the championship game. Getting into the semifinals is no sure thing. A.J. Bumpus working against Campbell. Count now 0-2.
Well, if you have pitching staffs like Jim Penders usually does, you know, you're probably throwing a 2nd rounder out there and only maybe just an 8th rounder.
That's all.
Go back to back. Reminds me of those Wayne Graham teams that Rice had back in the early 2000s.
Now, Bumpus, who's 2 for 2 today and drew a walk back in the 5th, he has had an incredibly efficient tournament. 6 of 6. They have yet to retire him in a game and a half. The senior stares on at Campbell. Just kind of flails at that one and fouls it back. Something about this ballpark. A.J. Bumpus, 13 of 31 in his career, hitting .419 in Clearwater. One of those seniors that's helped put the program back on solid footing. Hits the 1-2. With the speed, he'll make it a play at first. They get him over there for the first out of the inning.
Those the Phillies, I might give him a look. At least get some hits in spring training out of him.
So the first time he's retired in 2019, the senior will head back to the dugout. Artigues makes the play. A pinch hitter coming to the plate now in place of Murphy. This is Griffin Merritt, 2nd time we've seen him in the tournament. Right-handed bat comes to the plate.
.206, pair of home runs, 11 driven in 34 games, 26 starts, 9 walks. He struck out 31 times.
Merritt came in and pinch hit for Mitch Holding. Went 0 for 1. And got into the field as the first baseman.
And just to look ahead, Artigues, Bedgood, Neiman, 5, 6, and 7 coming to the plate for Tulane.
Merritt, a true freshman. Offers at that one, and he strikes out. Nice pitching there by Justin Campbell for Tulane. He gets the K, and he is 1 out from getting his offense back up to the plate to try and tie this ball game up.
Now didn't have much luck, kept him completely off balance, fooled him really bad on that last one.
Just the 3rd strikeout of the ball game for the Cincinnati offense, and the 1st since the 4th inning. Pretty impressive showing tonight. Now Jeremy Johnson will stare in. 2 outs, nobody on. There's strike 1.
It's really good considering this season in their 56 games played, they've struck out 466 times. So they did have some high strikeout numbers. They did an amazing job tonight, though.
Gamble, the lefty, deals. Outside part of the plate. Johnson takes off for first base. Won't be in time. Artigues with the last 2 outs of the inning. Top of the 9th is toast. We'll go to the bottom of the frame. We'll be back after this on the American Digital Network with Tulane down to their final 3 outs.
We all dream about our next vacation, but some of us turn those dreams into action. The bookers, the doers, they hit that confirmation button and let's goers. Because bookers know that the perfect place to stay is right there for the booking. Be a booker at Booking.com, the world's #1 choice for booking accommodations.
Bernie scores! 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Welcome back in, everyone. There is the dugout for the Cincinnati Bearcats, who have Tulane doubled up 8-4, top of the ninth, and the visiting Tulane Green Wave trying to score 4 to extend our ball game. There's Coach Scott Guggens in his second season. And the Tulane dugout. Pretty good hitters coming to the plate for the Green Wave. It'll be 5, 6, 7. Artigues, Bedgood, and Neiman scheduled to come to the plate.
If Corinne finishes the game out, comes out here and pitches a complete inning, it will be his longest appearance of the year. Prior to that, it was against Tulane on March 31st, 2 innings. He also got a season-high 4 strikeouts in that game. That was the 7-6 win for the Bearcats.
Starts him off with called strike 1. You've got to go back 11 years the last time that Cincinnati won the first 2 games of a conference tournament. It was here in Clearwater at then Bright House Field. They beat West Virginia and USF 2 in a row by crooked scores. This one's fouled back. They beat the Mountaineers 11-5 in the Big East tournament to open it up. Then they smothered USF 11-1. They would beat USF again on semifinal Saturday 13-2. So, impressively, they scored 35 runs in their first 3 games. They would fall to Louisville in the championship winner-take-all match 6-3. Last time that Cincinnati's played for a title. This one's into the night. Right field, Bumpus settles under it, and Artigues is retired. Pretty tall order for any team to try and score 4 runs in the top of the 9th inning. For Tulane, they just don't have any extra base hits in tonight's ball game. Haven't been able to string hit together.
Well, that's the more important thing, I think, than the extra base hits. Just haven't been able to piece things together tonight. I mean, you're a power hitting team, a doubles home run team. You need to string 2, 3, 4 hits together, put up the big inning. They just haven't been able to do it.
Here's David Bedgood, 1 for 4 on the night, singled in his last at bat. This one's going to hang up for Weimer in left field, 2 outs. This might be the first game that we've had all week where it's below 80 degrees. Currently 78 degrees in Clearwater, Florida. And the Green Wave are down to their final out, trailing by 4. We have touched 11 o'clock for a game that started at 7:28. No complaints here. 2 outs, nobody on for Frankie Neiman. That one finishes a little bit out of the zone. 89 miles an hour by Thompson. The starter, Colvin, did not go 5 innings, so your pitcher of record is Nathan Moore. Moore in line for Cincinnati to get the win. It would be his 3rd of the year and improve him to 3-0. And of course, with the game now 4 runs, not a save opportunity for Thompson because he will not pitch 3+ innings. Jeff, you said he would be 2 1/3.
2 1/3 would be a season high
if he can close it out. But you got to feel good about the opportunity to close out a ball game, preserve a win for your team, and move on sparkling, undefeated 2-0 heading into semifinal Saturday, whether you get a statistic on your ledger or not.
Another day off, a chance to enjoy what you've accomplished as well. Regardless of what they do, even they just lay around and relax at the hotel.
Neiman battling up there. He'll draw a walk. So Tulane with a base runner here in the top of the 9th. 8 walks picked up today by the Green Wave offense. And I know they would gladly trade them from a couple of well-timed hits into the gap with runners on. Kobe Owen will come back to the plate. Owen's 2nd appearance. Owen's got pop, 10 home runs on the year. 240 hitter. First pitch to him, 90 miles an hour by Thompson. Thompson's next pitch will be his 40th all in relief.
There are certain hitters you look way ahead of. I know there's 2 outs, a runner on, but you're only 3 batters away from Hosey getting up there again. And if Hosey gets up there, you're in some trouble with 2 outs. Something's happened. A run, at least 1 run is scored. He's hitting with multiple runners on.
88 miles an hour fouled back. A little life for Tulane and their fans here in the ballpark. This Cincinnati group won their first conference tournament game in 11 years. Now they're looking to go 2-0. Thompson has this one go outside. Count goes 2-2. This one's lifted up on the infield. Ball game. Cincinnati moves on to semifinal Saturday here at the American Baseball Championships. Mercer with the squeeze, and they double up the green wave of Tulane 8-4. What a spectacular performance by the Cincinnati Bearcats, Jeff. They get it done here at Spectrum Field, maybe when nobody expected them to do so, and this is the number 2 seed in the regular season. Cincinnati continues to pile up wins here in Clearwater.
Well, rarely do you have a feeling coming into a game that the 2 seed is the underdog. I know they had a losing record overall, but 13-11 in the regular season. And again, you just look at the numbers, the high-powered offense by Tulane, but Cincinnati again this year finds a way to get it done.
We'll be back with the post-game wrap-up between Tulane and Cincinnati when we return here on the American Digital Network.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve our time in your community. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
Cincinnati beats Tulane 8-4. Let's go down onto the field with Haley and the victorious head coach.
Coach, you said in the pregame today that your group is a different team than when you faced Tulane in March. Where was the difference today?
You know, I thought on the mound. I thought Clayton Colvin gave us a great start. He really did. That's what we need from a senior. Did a really good job. Ran out of gas in the 5th. We also made some poor decisions at that point in time, too. But, again, he did a great job. I thought Nate Moore did a good job. But then we brought the big boy in, Corinne Thompson, and he closed the door. So it was good. I think we also had some big hits. Mitch Holding had a couple big hits for us, had the home run. He also had the 7th inning. He got that ground ball to score Wyatt Stapp. So it was a good day offensively, too.
Tulane, a good offensive team, able to get 13 runners on base. That ended up being stranded by your pitching staff. How tough did they prove to be to get out of some of those innings?
They are a really good hitting team. They were tough 1 through 9 all day. So, but again, I give our guys, our pitchers credit. They battled and we made some plays defensively. But that's a really good Tulane team. I thought their pitcher threw well. Again, I just thought we were a little bit better today.
2 days ago, your team was searching for its first win ever in this American Championship tournament, and now your program is 1 win away from appearing in the tournament final. What comes to mind when you hear that?
We're just taking it one day at a time. Again, we're going to enjoy this one. Obviously, they deserve it. Tomorrow we'll get back and we'll practice, and we'll just be ready to go on Saturday.
Thanks, Coach. See you then.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So Cincinnati moves on. Tulane will play our Game 2 tomorrow, Elimination Friday, against UCF. Our first game that day will be ECU versus Wichita State. Let's go back down with Haley.
AJ, 6 for 7 in this tournament. Where's your confidence level at the plate this week?
My confidence is, it's there. I'm always confident, but I think I'm just competing. I'm determined not to let the umpire call me out, fighting off good pitches from the other team. I'm just there right now. Hopefully I keep it going.
Hitting well late in this season. Where do you feel the difference just mentally as you head to the plate?
Difference is probably I don't really care how I look up there. I don't care if I swing through a pitch. If he throws it again, I'm positive that I can hit it. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just confidence. Yep.
2 wins for this team in the tournament. How loose is your group feeling collectively?
Oh, I feel like we're just playing good team ball. We're just playing good team ball. We're playing as a unit, unselfish baseball. So, yeah, we're feeling really good right now.
As a senior, this is new territory for your group in the conference tournament. 2 wins here this week, and it was your first one here just the other day. How significant would it be of an accomplishment for you in your final season to make it to this tournament final?
It would be very significant. Something that this team hasn't done is probably ever in school history. So to leave a trademark my last year, that would be great. So hopefully keep it going. Yep.
Thanks, AJ. See you Saturday.
See you. Thank you.
Our player of the game, A.J. Bumpus, Cincinnati with the win, 8-4. Jeff, an impressive showing by the Bearcats, who have now scored 19 runs and 22 hits.
Solid pitching when they needed it. They got the out again, as Coach Guggen said. Solid start and then a nice job closing it out in between. They find a way, and tonight it was Cincinnati with the big innings and the extra base hits.
Nathan Moore improves to 3-0. They shut out the Green Wave offense over the final 4 innings and come away with an 8-4 victory. Thanks for joining us this evening on the American Digital Network. For Haley Outen and Jeff Brightwell, I'm Garrett Walber. 2 more games coming up tomorrow. Join us at 3 p.m. Eastern for ECU and Wichita State on day 4. Thanks, everybody. This has been the American Baseball Championships presented by the Air Force Reserve.